Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to more EGFH Rocket League here at the 2021 EGF High School National Championship in collaboration with Walt Disney World Resort and ESPN. I am Septilins, joined by the wonderful McFarlane to bring you not one, but two fantastic games of Rocket League here today. McFarlane, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. You know, a little bit, almost scared us a little bit getting my setup ready, but here we are. I'm all set. I'm ready to go, and really happy to be able to call some Rocket League, some high-level Rocket League here today.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, it wouldn't be a Septilins broadcast without somebody having tech issues one way or another. But I'm glad we got him out of the way right at the beginning. And now we are going to see the Crespi Carmelites Celts up against the Pennsauken Sour Limes. And I'm very excited to see the Celts I'm very familiar with in pretty much every game that I broadcast. They're all over the place. And then, you know, the Sour Limes, I don't think I've had the opportunity to see them yet. So I'm very excited to see what they bring to the table here today.
Yeah, no, and this is the first time I'm calling in this tournament as well, this Nationals tournament, so I'm really excited to see how these teams are playing up to the next level, playing into what this situation really is. It's a big tournament. It's big for all of them, and I'm really excited to see how they come up to the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe, this is Group 1 versus Group 4 kind of scenario. And if I'm not mistaken, we're getting relatively close to the end of the bracket. So these teams are just a couple of games away from securing their victories even further. So this is going to be, I believe, around, let's see the bracket here for just a moment. So yeah, they're going to be the play-ins. This is going to be the number one. They'll both, the winner will move on up against the Blue Devils, who are a terrifying team in their own right. So this is really kind of for all the marbles between these two teams.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is where it gets serious, right? This is where you really want to be on top of your game, on top of your rotations. Everything's got to be crisp and clean because you're trying to play into that spot. And this is big for each of those two teams.
Yeah, this is huge. This is the end of the road, realistically. One of these teams will walk away defeated here today, and one of them will get to move on. So this is going to be quite interesting. If I'm not mistaken, immediately after this, we will have the Richardson High School Rocket Eagles up against the North Mesquite Stallions, who, again, are two very scary teams. We are far enough into the bracket where every team we have left is some of the best that this tournament has to offer, and it looks like we're going to find out which one of these teams wants that victory just a little bit more between the Celt and the Sour Limes here, starting right now.
Yeah, no, and absolutely can't wait to see these two teams duke it out. This is big. This is for everything here. This is what you've been playing up for. This is what everything's defining. This is where you've started at the beginning of the year. You've worked your whole way here, and now here you are, the big stage, and it's time to turn it up and play that next level Rocket League.
Yeah, like you said, this is the biggest of big stages. So many games, so many wins, so many losses have led up to this moment, and now you are one game away from securing your spot in the next round, into these play-ins. You can survive to the, I believe, semifinal, quarterfinals if you can just survive this one game. And that sounds so simple, just win, forehead, just take the victory here today. But at the same time, like I mentioned, every single one of these teams, they are coming with a vengeance. These are teams that are not familiar with losing.
No, these are extremely talented top tier teams. They've gotten here for a reason. There's no slouch. There's no they kind of skirted their way in here through an easy bracket. No, each team that we're seeing here from today beyond are teams that absolutely deserve to be where they're at, and they deserve to be playing for what they're playing for right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to be a first to three scenario. So a team will have to secure three Rocket League game victories, so about 15 minutes in theoretical time. So that's going to be kind of what they have to look out for. And we've seen, in Rocket League, in every game that we've had it kind of lined up in this tournament, we have seen a lot of 3-0 victories across the board in every single game. We're just coming from a 3-0 victory in Overwatch moments ago that luckily didn't involve either of these teams. But, it's something that we are rather familiar with this deep into the tournament. I want to see, the Sour Limes. I want to see what they bring to the table. I want to see if they can live up to the same energy, to the same aggression that we have seen from so many of these stronger teams here in the tournament. Because, like I said, I don't think they're a weak team. I just haven't had the opportunity to see them yet. So I really want to see them come out swinging.
No, and the thing that's going to be really important for them is to be sure they're on top of their game. There's been a lot of teams fall into this trap where you get into the high level games, you get into those top games, and you're starting to think, oh man, how do we change our play style in order to play up to this scenario or against this strong team? And one of the most important things right now is for them to just play the game that they know, work their own rotations, work their own offensive schemes, their own defensive rotations. That's how you win games. Don't try and fix your game and fix your the way that you play just because it's a scenario. No, you need to play the way that you've been playing all the way through. It's gotten you success before, and it'll do it now as long as you play it to the letter.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail right on the head. We see teams all the time end up losing games, possibly losing series, because they try to go that above and beyond. They try to spice things up. They try to get creative, and sometimes not being creative very well may be the answer. Like you said, stick to what you know, stick to what you've been practicing. Kind of those Hail Mary plays are a very dangerous thing to do. So I wholeheartedly agree with kind of the analysis you've created there. These teams come in, do what you know. Don't try to create a new atmosphere. Don't try to create anything crazy. Just come in, lead the game as you always have, and you can find another victory here today.
Absolutely, and like I said, that's just the big thing. But also not being too nervous about this either, right?
Of course.
Being someone that's played competitively before and continues to do so, you get against that big powerhouse team, or you get in that big situation in a tournament or in a bracket, and you think, oh man, this is really difficult for me. This is going to be something incredibly difficult. This is something I haven't seen before. This is really high level. The best thing you can do is just clear your head of all that. There's a lot of noise. Like I've said many, many times, Rocket League's a very mental game. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of things going on in the background, going on in your own head. You got to clear that all out and just think game. Take it from right now. The ball drop, take it from that play to the next one to the next one. Don't be thinking about game 3 and game 1. Clear your head.
Yeah, no. Absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head once again. Chef Billy and I had the opportunity to interview a player earlier this week who had just come back. He had just won a reverse sweep with his team, so a 3-2 victory. They just barely climbed back from the jaws of defeat. In his interview, that is exactly what he said. He said, we focused on fixing our mental. We went into this game. We went into the next game stronger, and we came out victorious. And it was incredible because that mental swap is really what they needed. But now, finally jumping into things here, the Cells versus the Sour Limes. That first kickoff going to go a little bit wide to the side. Definita, that is actually... I have to immediately eat my words. I've absolutely seen the Sour Limes before because Definita is a name that I have said many times before. That is a name that I do remember.
That's a lot of these teams start to bleed together. You get into
that
the later
Celts,
part
I'm
of it.
sorry, but either way, that is a name that I recall.
It's whatever. The top name players will stand out.
Absolutely. Like you said, the names, they really do start to blend together after a while. All these players, they stand out so much as individuals that at a certain point, you're like, wait, what team were you on again? But now Geezer Bro and Sosa are going to get a little bit of ball possession here. It looks like they may actually be setting something up, but no, instead, Geezer Bro are going to send it a little bit wide to the side, trying to just get it away from the open goal.
Yeah, no, and what you'll notice early game, especially early in like a game 1, is a lot of a feeling out period where teams aren't going to be too very aggressive or too much in terms of pushing the ball. They're going to be playing back and forth. Both these teams are feeling each other out right now.
Yeah, no, this is certainly kind of that game 1 analysis, if you will. We see this in a lot of these scenarios where the first game is more about reading your opponent than it is winning the game, as stupid as that sounds, because if you can find their weak spots, if you can find the cracks in their armor, you can really turn it around in games 2, 3, and 4 and just win a 3-1 set, even if you do lose that game 1. So a lot of this right now seems to be, what can we get away with?
Yeah, no, you're going to notice a lot of throwing the ball at the net, seeing how teams react defensively. That's a tactic in terms of trying to find out how a team's going to play. Like if you just throw the ball at the net, see what they're going to do, that's how you learn their defensive rotation, and that's how you find chinks in the armor. You're seeing that on both ends of the field right now.
Absolutely. This is definitely a lot of back and forth, and I feel at the same time it comes with that kind of feeling at your opponent, but nobody's really been very aggressive here in game one. It feels like, okay, we have a shot, like let's go for it. It never feels like that is their prime objective. It just seems like right now it's a lot of tossing the ball around, trying to figure out if we do this, kind of what's the next play. It looks like both these teams are trying to read 4 steps into the future rather than living right now, which is, a good way to win a match.
Yeah,
oh,
no,
there we
definitely.
Go.
And Nosy finally turns this one around, opens up a scoring, 2:43 left in the game, kind of gets that secondary touch off the defender, and then the other defense isn't just able to get back. That touch doesn't even matter. That ball was going in either way.
Yeah, Sosa just not even close to the right spot. Knocks it in. You call it an own goal if you want, but that was going in 100%, even if they did not make contact with the ball. So now the Sour Limes, just before halftime, have secured themselves a lead.
Yeah, and that's exactly where you want to be if you're the Sour Limes. You've been feeling out most of the game. Seems like you might have found a chink in the armor. You're going to see them try and run with that style of play, and they might even turn up the aggressiveness right now.
Yeah, it would make sense to, right? You've got the lead, you want to make it as large as possible, and Unable Lime is trying to do just that. I like that his name is team-related in the Lime department there, but Geezer Bro going to just barely put one away, bouncing between the crossbar and the ground, but instead, it looks like it is going to be able to get lined up, and now it's going to be tied up 1-1, 2:16 on the clock.
And that's a great response from the Celts, right? You go down early, you go down midway through the game after a real lot of back and forth. The best way to get back into it is to put one up there. Take that all out of your head, take that goal out of your head, just play that next play. Like I said previous, don't worry about what happened a few seconds ago or what's going to happen.
Right.
Just play for right now. They did that and they tied the game.
Yeah, it's just that complicated 0-0 coming through, right? I mean, it's really going to come down to who finds that next goal, who puts themselves that 1 point in the lead, because that's the beautiful thing about Rocket League. There is absolutely nowhere to draw. Somebody walks away victorious every single time. 1:50 on the clock now. Both these teams look for kind of these not desperate moves, but these opportunities to score, because winning by a single point is very much still winning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can't. A 2-1 win feels just as sweet as a 7-0 win, right? Because you still came away with that W and you worked hard for it. So you're going to see these teams turn up the pressure and try and get that next goal.
Yeah, I really like to see them kind of emerge and find this next goal early on. This is a pretty low-scoring game, but again, it's game 1 of maximum 5 games, so there's plenty of time for these teams to really put the pedal to the metal and turn up the heat. And for the time being, again, I don't want to call them lazy attempts at goals, but right now it really seems like a lot of the players are just like, I'll hit it toward the goal and kind of see what happens, where instead of that usual kind of every player looking to dunk the ball in as aggressively as possible. So the momentum certainly feels a little bit slower than normal Rocket League here in game 1.
Yeah, no, and that's what's interested me as well. Is like both teams have scored now. I'd be willing to say the feeling out time is pretty much over. So you're looking to see a few more complicated plays be made, right? Maybe a passing play, maybe an aerial shot, and you really haven't seen that from either one of these teams. It's been kind of surprising. Neither team has been able to move an inch and put their stamp on the game.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I have to agree. Coming down to the final 30 seconds of game 1, that feel-out time, you've run out of that opportunity. Now you have to win this game. You've got to put another point on board. And we almost see, we will see, rather, the Sour Limes are able to find just that. So that extra goal will come through. And now 25 seconds left. That just made this first game incredibly difficult for the Celts to win.
Yeah, and that was a very unfortunate touch by the defender there. He had it on the back wall where he wanted, but I don't think he got the power that he wanted in order to clear that ball. So instead it dropped right in midfield for Unable Lime to just tap it in. And with 22 seconds left, Celts got to be feeling like their backs are to the wall now. If they're going to do something, they need to do it right now.
Yeah, no, they certainly have to do it right now. Like you said, 12 seconds left. And of course, they can keep the ball in the air and juggle it for as long as they want. But it's going to be a difficult thing to do. Unable Lime is not really going to have to block that one, as Definita will miss it. A great demo coming in from Comet onto Sosa. And this is a good, as soon as the ball touches the ground, game 1 is going to go in favor of the Sour Lime. Sosa, in an attempt to keep it alive, it is able to do so. It's going to be up into the air once again. Definita might be able to grab it, but Dozy instead gets up and slams it smack into the ground. So that is going to be game 1 going to the Sour Limes. It only puts them 2 games away from a victory here.
Yeah, no, and that's a great complete game from the Sour Limes. Even though we really didn't see much of a offensive onslaught from either one of these teams. The Sour Lions played more of a complete game where their rotation was crisp. They were getting power behind their clearances out of their own zone, and they really weren't getting caught in like a stuck rotation where somebody wasn't moving. They had a nice moving parts system working for them, and I think that won them game one.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else that may have been a benefactor, I'm not sure what the ping for the Celts normally is, but they were between 70 and 90, all three of them, up against the Sour Limes, who are around that 30-40 mark, which, of course, doesn't sound like a large difference, but at the same time, it is like an absolutely amazing it can make a huge difference at the end of the day.
No, what's shocking about that is, especially in a game as fast-paced as Rocket League, if somebody's got at least 20 better than you, then they're going to have a slight advantage. You know, Rocket League is a very fast-paced game where even the smallest touch can make a difference as to what's going to happen. So you can't take that out of contention either. But now we got to put that in the rearview mirror as Game 2 is just getting underway now.
Yeah, Game 2 will finally come to an open here. Unable Lime goes for kind of a kickoff goal, but it's going to be blocked by Sosa. Those are pretty difficult to hit. Those are usually more luck than skill, at least those kickoff goals. And now Comet going to be coming in early, trying to get any kind of ball possession for the Sour Limes. But this is feeling already, very reminiscent of what we saw at the beginning of Game 1, where there was no team that was like, oh, this team immediately has the lead. It's a lot of back and forth so far.
Yeah, no, again, it's really back and forth. It really just feels like they're feeling each other out again. I know that's not what's happening at this point. They've played a game against each other, but that's just what it feels like. I mean, it's back and forth. There's really no purpose behind where they're placing the ball. It just kind of seems like they're lobbing it around. It's just a really interesting style. I've not seen this in quite some time.
Yeah, we very often see teams that are playing a little bit slower, but this may be the first time we have found two teams that want to be on that slower pace. So it's a little bit unusual. Nobody's going for those crazy aerials. Nobody's going for those crazy demos. It just seems to be a little bit of a concept. It almost feels like the flag football equivalent of Rocket League right now. It's almost that kind of slowed down version of the normal game.
Yeah, no, it's honestly shocking. I'm really looking to see one of these teams open it up because, like I said, neither of these teams is bad by any means, right? They got here and they deserve to be here, but right now I'm really not seeing the level of play you need to see in order to win a tournament like this.
Yeah, the Celts, I think, is a team that have done that quite often, where they are kind of a little bit slow. Because I feel like I've made that comment about them a lot, and then they always make it this far, if not further, into tournaments. So it's like, at some point or another, they just turn on the switch and really kick it up a notch. But it looks like we're going to be seeing that not happen quite yet, as they've actually been leaving their goal open quite often. They haven't been punished for it yet, but if they continue to do so, I think the Sour Limes can really take advantage of that.
Yeah, absolutely. The way their rotation is it's almost like it's broken down, or a watered down defensive rotation in a sense, because it's like on paper their people are in the right locations in the defensive zone, but they almost never have someone in front of their net, which is very interesting to me, because you want somebody there protecting at least on the post in case a ball gets thrown towards your net. They're going to get burned on that eventually, especially if they do end up making it out of this round, get into the next one. Next team isn't going to let that kind of thing fly.
Yeah, exactly. If they are able to beat the Sour Limes here, they don't get punished for that. Like you said, the next team, whoever's next in line, I mean, they're going to take full advantage of that. But right now, Definita is going to take full advantage of not quite an open goal, but a scoreable one. So coming in from the right side of the goal, getting a great opportunity. A little bit of a bump from Sosa there and right past Dozy. So a little bit of luck there to help. Dozy just going a little bit too late on the ball. We'll put the Celts up 1-0.
Yeah, no, but that was also a nice angle shot, too. He pulls the ball out of the corner, puts it right into the back of the net. It's a really nice angle shot. It's by no means is that an easy shot to take, especially since there was no deflection on the way in. That went right from the corner into the back of the net. So that's a really well-placed shot.
Yeah, I have to agree that you don't see shots from like that diagonal like that very often. So not only to find that, but to also get it past the defender the way that was. It was definitely nicely done. And like I said, Dozy may have made it a little bit easier for them, just not able to really find that defensive block. But speaking of easy, Comet going to get in, just bonk it right into goal there. Nobody's able to get through. And now looks like the Sour Limes going to be able to tie things up. It's funny, we were about this time on the clock when we tied up last game as well.
Yeah, no, these teams it's almost like they're playing a carbon copy of their last two games. But what I don't like about that last goal is, again, the Celtics defense absolutely breaks down once again. They had somebody driving around inside their net, which was odd, and they had nobody covering the net. But right as I say that, Definita's going to turn it right back around and score again. So clearly not the feeling out game that we had last time.
This might be the Celts that I was just talking about a minute ago, where they start slow, and then at some point or another, they're like, oh yeah, we're playing a game, and they just kick it into high gear. But now I'm curious to see if they can keep this momentum up, because now only winning by a single point, and it's so easy to get tied back up. And as I say, it almost was. But Gozi is going to get blocked out by Definite in there, and that's going to be a relative good turnaround. A minute 45 left on the clock here, and now we see this could be a great opportunity for the Celts to force the ball back away from their goal.
Yeah, no, and it's going to be very important to see how they play the rest of this game out, right? I'm looking to see some strong clearances, some good pressure, and some good rotation, which has been a little bit lacking in the early part of this game, but it seems like the Celts are really starting to clean themselves up right now and establish a lot of time in the Sour Limes offensive zone, which is what you want.
Yeah, exactly. They want to be forcing the ball into the zone of the Sour Limes. They want to keep it away from their goal, because obviously the further it is from goal, the harder it is to score. So if they're forcing the Sour Limes into this defensive back foot, it's going to make it even harder for the Sour Limes to score. The Celts can just really pressure them down for this remaining 62 seconds.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just going to be very important to see. But right now, the Celts are going to be... You might even see them turn a little bit more of a defensive side to this game. With 51 seconds left, they have that 1-point lead. They're down in the series by 1 game. They might just try and lock this game down. And just as I'm saying that, almost right there. Goodness, that was close for the Sour Limes.
Yeah, that was. I thought that was actually going to go in, but it must have been a little bit wider than the camera allowed me to see. And now 30 seconds left on the clock. It looks like things are going to be going through. All of a sudden, 30 seconds left, and the Celts are 1 score away. Oh, that almost went in for EGFH. That would have been perfect.
Oh man, that would have been the nail in the coffin. But luckily for the Sour Limes, they've got a little bit of fight left in them, and that did not go the way of the Celts.
Yeah, that would have been good, but now 9 seconds left. They still might be able to win, even if EGFH is not able to find that goal. Any of the Lime will get blocked out by Sosa, and I love what's being done by the Celts here. I feel like they're not really looking to score. They're just trying to make sure that the Sour Limes can't. And, oh! That could have been a disaster.
Wow.
That could have been something, but it is going to get blocked out, and it's going to touch the ground before it goes into goal, unfortunately. So nothing going to come off the back of that one, and the Celts already tying it up 1-1. That will guarantee us at least a game 4.
Yeah, no, and that's what you want to see. You want to see these teams going back and forth. These are both talented teams. They've gotten here for a reason, and they're absolutely going to be fighting their way tooth and nail all the way to the end of this one. So glad to see that this is going to be a nice back and forth series.
Yeah, that was that ball right at the end there. I thought that was going to just go. I mean, that was a guaranteed go in, right? If we were not in overtime, that would have been 100% into the goal. But it touches the ground, and unfortunately, in overtime, you can't really do much about that. And now the Celts, they have tied it up 1-1. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the kind of team where their momentum continues to climb throughout a series. And I want to know, what are the Sour Limes going to do to try to cancel that out before they really get ahead of themselves?
Absolutely, and if the momentum continues to climb for the Celts, then I'm really excited to see what they bring into the table this game, because if it's going up, then this is going to be incredible to watch.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, they are, like I said, Crespi, they're strong across every game that we here have to offer at the EGFH tournament that we are currently a part of. EGFH goes for, whoa! Wow,
what a
I thought
save.
That would have been a guarantee, but no, it looks like Comet is going to be able to get that one out of there.
Wow, that was a beautiful save right there for the Sour Limes. That was a perfect place shot and just a beautifully made save right there.
Yeah, a beautifully made save indeed. That's one of those goals that even though I saw it happen, I'm still not sure how it didn't count as a full go in, but Definito will clean up off the back of it eventually. Not exactly a free goal, but a relatively easy one, as there were no defenders in sight for that one.
Yeah, no, and there was they came back, but there was a little bit of an overcommit on the offensive, which you really don't want to be doing. You have to be mindful of the rotation, the way that the ball is going, because if you get caught in that offensive zone, then you'll see right there a nice easy tap-in goal puts the Celts up by 1 early in this one.
Absolutely, like you said, it's going to be putting it up a little bit early there, and now 4 minutes left on the clock. This is a good opportunity for the Celts. They put themselves in the lead. They're going to try to hold on to it. EGFH again. I think that's the 3rd time we've seen EGFH just barely taking a little bit wide.
Yeah, no, but you're seeing some real strong pressure from the Celts right now. The Sour Limes are almost unable to get the ball out of their zone, and when they do, it's only in the Celts zone for a couple seconds before it's blasted back out, which is exactly what you want to be if you're on the Celts right now.
No doubt about that. Comet goes for one, but it's going to go a little bit tall. It's going to hit the crossbar instead of going into the net. And Geezerbro takes it a little wide again, gets it past the defender, but there was unfortunately no follow-up from anybody else on the Celts. We see the Sour Limes get a very brief ball possession. It looks like they're going to send it toward the goal of the Celts. But here comes Sosa with an attempt at an interruption, but it's actually going to miss. All three defenders now going to be in the way of the Sour Limes. So scoring right now may be rather difficult.
Yeah, no, both teams are really trying to play like a lockdown defense. It's been the same theme throughout this matchup here. No team has really been like, okay, let's put the pedal to the metal and dominate the offensive zone. Both teams is perfectly happy to sit there and let the ball come to them and let them play defense and then opportunistic. So it's really been an interesting style of play that I've not seen. And beautiful shot.
Great follow-up there. Yeah, the Comet did miss that first attempt, but Unable Lime comes in for... Yeah, Comet misses that first attempt, and then Unable Lime comes in, scores off the back of it. No, I'm sorry, it was Comet that scored off the back of it. Sorry about that. And I'm excited to see, you know, like you talked about, I think opportunistic is a really good term for both of these teams. I feel like the defense is kind of the stronger side of these teams, and then they go for the goals when they appear. They're not really looking for them, so to speak.
Yeah, no, but both teams, like I said, they're perfectly happy to play defense and then just turn good defense into good offense, which is not characteristic of a late round tournament, but we'll see how this plays out for them.
We'll have to see how this plays out, and I want to know, kind of 2.5 minutes now, just going underneath that halftime. Can the Sour Limes take a second game away and put themselves in the lead? I mean, that's going to help, no doubt about it. Able to put another one online, and a rather clean one at that.
Yeah, and that's a great stuff by Unable Lime right there, because the Celts were going to be able to get a nice clearance off that. They had the ball in a safe place, but Unable Lime comes in, interrupts that defensive clearance, and the ball just drops perfectly for a nice tap-in goal, and the Sour Limes will take that 1-goal lead right now.
Yeah, oh my goodness, gonna find another one, completely open goal for Dozy. As a wise man once said, sheesh, this is looking good for the Sour Limes here in Game 3.
Absolutely, and that's a really great read from the ball coming off the wall, able to get a nice tap. It rolls right into the back of the net. No defensive pressure whatsoever, and that puts them up by 2 with 2:18 left in this one.
2:18, that is an eternity in Rocket League time.
Absolutely.
However, the Celts have more than enough time to turn this around, so I want to know if they're able to do so. But at the same time, we've seen both these teams go more than 2 minutes without putting a single point online, so I want to see, can the Celts find the momentum that they need?
Yeah, no, and if they could just turn back to what they were doing last game, I don't see why they can't, right? They had a really good set system where they would wait for the ball to come, a nice shot on net, and then they turn it around and turn it into offense. So just like that right there, perfectly executed. So they just keep doing that. I don't see why they can't come back into this one.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, Definita is so close to scoring. We've seen so many times they come through and try to get that shot. And I feel like they're always a little bit too tall. It's always off the top of the goal that Definita finds it. But a great pass into Sosa is still going to be blocked by Comet, who's in the exact place they needed to be. Geezerbro now going to be able to get a little bit of possession, but Comet instead throwing it toward the goal of the Celts.
Yeah, no, and the Sour Limes are playing exactly what they want to do right now.
Yep.
1:20 left. They don't want to let the Celts back into this game, so they're just going to clear the ball every chance they get and try and establish offense.
Yeah, and Game 1 and 2, we talked about how the Celts keep leaving their goal open, and I think we've seen that hitting them a lot harder here in Game 4, because Game 3, excuse me. Sosa, however, is going to put one up. Talk about an open goal. Sosa does get a pretty prime opportunity to knock the ball in.
Yeah, and Definita with a really nice play right there. Realizes that he's going to get challenged, so he just puts it off the post, right to the front of the net that Sosa's able to just tap right in. That's a really smart play.
Yeah, Definita, not to insult the other two players on the Celts, but I think Definita is arguably the strongest player coming out of the Celts, so I'm glad to see their reaction time and their kind of thought pattern is as strong as it has been so far today, because they're going to have to do that one more time in 50 seconds just to keep this game alive.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with you there. I definitely no insult to the other members of the team, but Definita really just seems to be on that next level of play where they're really, their plays are smart. They're making smart plays, and just it seems to be just a little bit above what their other players are at right now.
Right, I feel, had I to pick, it almost feels Definita v Comet, right? Because Comet seems to be that same position on the side of the Sour Limes, so it's almost like they're the front runners, so to speak, and then the other two kind of falling into that support role.
Yeah, but every team seems to have that, right? Every team has their superstars and then their support players. And your support players are just as important as your superstars, because
no doubt.
if your support's not there, then the superstars just getting shelled, stuck in their own defensive end. So every person has their place on a 3-man rotation. They all belong there, and they all know what they have to do, and they do it well. And just like that, despite the Celts really making a good pressure right there, Pennsauken's just going to knock it down, and they're going to take that another victory, the next step. They're only one win away from taking this series right here.
Yeah, they've put themselves up 2-1, and that was close. 1 point difference, maybe 10 more seconds on the clock, and that could have been different. So the Celts come danger close to coming back, but it looks like Pennsauken is going to remain in the lead here. They're going to put themselves up 2-1 in the series, and I've got to call it out again. You know, the Celts are super close. Is that 25? Is that 30 ping really making the difference for them in a negative way?
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder. I mean, are they used to playing with this ping? It could be an equipment thing where they're used to playing with this ping as well. You really don't know what's going on their end right now, but really they're going to need to right now find a way to play through it if that really is their issue, and they need to find a way to win a game right here. Their backs are against the wall, and they need to do whatever they can to take this game and try and force a Game 5.
Yeah, no, I'm super curious to see if a Game 5 is going to be coming out. The Celts, like I said, they're strong, but right now the Sour Limes Game 1 was rough, and after that they have not dropped the ball since. As I say it, Comet going to come through with another early goal. The Sour Limes, they have gotten good. This is 3 games in a row they have scored in the first 20 seconds. Yeah, and I'd like to commend Dozy right there. It was a small play. You might not have even noticed it, but the ball was floating in the middle, and he knocked it down. So that was able to be taken into the net by Commit. So that was a really smart play by Dozy to knock the ball down and put it into an offensive playing scoring point that Commit was able to convert on. Yeah, Comet has just been, we talked about it right last game, Comet kind of that front runner on the half of the Sour Limes, and now we've just seen a lot of great call coming through, and I was gonna comment on this, and Definita went through and followed up on it. I think if the Celts get a little more physical, if they get a little more aggressive and follow up, maybe finding a couple of eliminations, a couple of demolitions, it could really help them out. I feel like neither of these teams are really going for the demos, so if the Celts were to all of a sudden change their play style and look a little more aggressively, I think it could help them out a lot. You know, what's important about demolitions, though, is they need to be done correctly, right? You can't just be running around demolishing random guys. There needs to be a purpose behind it. Like, say there's a guy, you're one-on-one, you take him out so he can't get the shot off, that's fine. But if you're in the other team zone, you're just demolishing a guy to get the demolition, then it's not really doing anything. So what's important for me is the demolition needs to be tactical. That's the way that's the way to make it effective. Yeah, we've definitely seen some demolitions before where they get the demo and it actually puts the defender in a better position because it brings them back to their own goal. Yeah. So, like you said, you've got to be super careful when you put that through because it could be the very reason. I know the Chef Billy and I were casting earlier this week. We saw a goal get blocked by someone who had been demoed just seconds before. So it was actually like a worst case scenario. Yeah, no, you really you just have to be super careful with the demolitions. They're really iffy. They're really touchy. They're high risk, high reward. Yeah, absolutely. Because either you take a defender out of the play and you've got a nice open net, or conversely, you put them in a perfect defensive position and they're going to be able to block your shot. So you just got to be very sure of what you're doing. I couldn't have said it better. You've just got to have that confidence of those demolitions, especially because it's only, what, a 2.5 second respawn timer? So it's like you hardly get value if it's an accident. They need to be intentional. And speaking of intentional, Sosa's goal most certainly was. That was very clean. The pass from Definita, I think accidental. Definita was going for the score, but Sosa able to find a great follow-up off the back of it, and now tying things up again, almost exactly where it happened last time. This is like the tie-up moment of the games. Yeah, no, these teams really like to they like to play to a script, it seems, where they do exactly what they need to do right when they want to do it. What's going to be interesting here is to see who comes out of this tie now. Who's going to get that tiebreaker goal? Are the Sour Limes just going to try? You want to see the Celts? I'm looking to see the Sour Limes try and close this one out right now because they've had really strong ball possession. All signs have been pointing in their direction, and they're really just playing on top of themselves right now. So if they're able to get another goal, especially in the next few seconds here, I think it'll really knock the Celts back onto their heels, and it'll be really hard for them to get right back into the game. Just as I said it. Genius. What did he say? He called it to a T, comes through, finds the goal exactly as he wanted, and you know, like I said, I just want to see that coming in Game 5, but I think you're probably right here. That goal, perfect time. Yeah, no, that it's a great response goal, and now that allows the Sour Limes to ride that momentum through the rest of this game, and you're probably going to see them play another type of Rocket League right now. Oh! Wow! Whoa! Definita looking clean with it. Oh my goodness, we talked about this earlier. Definita, the star player of the Celts. What a smoke show on that one. I mean, talk about a phenomenal goal. What was that? 4 seconds?
Wow, that was just a perfect response, and the way that he was able to cradle that ball, bring it in to the net, put it off the crossbar, read that it was going off the crossbar, and get himself into a position to tap it in. That was just a perfect play from Definita right there.
No doubt. I mean, that was super impressive. And honestly, that reminds me of the Definita. I'm right at the beginning of the set. I commented I recognized that name. That reminds me of the Definita that I'm familiar with. I remember this being a very aerial-based player, very up in the sky, but Definita has been playing a lot of ground ball today, and I'm curious as to why.
You know, I think sometimes a lot of players like to change the way that they're doing things. You know, it kind of comes hand in hand with, am I going to play up in the air or down on the ground, or am I going to use an Octane or a Dominus hitbox? You know, it's decisions. Good players are able to make that call because they're able to be effective in all those situations. When you get up to this level of Rocket League, where these players are so good, they're able to make those decisions about how they're going to play, what they're going to play with. You know, so I think that just has a lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I'm looking at 60 seconds left on the clock. If the Celts can do what Definita has already done, I mean, they can definitely keep themselves alive and force us into that coveted Game 5, but Unable Live wants to make sure that certainly will not happen. So that is going to be a 3-2, exactly 1 minute left on the clock. I mean, there are 60 seconds between the Sour Lives and moving on in the tournament.
Yeah, and I think you're going to notice again, the Celts left their net open again. And that it forced Definita to have to run all the way back and try and make a desperation save, which in Rocket League is incredibly difficult to do. So they leave their net open again, and it bites them again. And that's exactly where you don't want it to happen. Time's starting to wind down on you. You're trying to force another game, and that goal really stings for the morale.
Yeah, the pressure is certainly building on the shoulders of the Celts, and I agree. You know, we talked about it. Celts, if they did move on, they need to fix this open goal issue because it is, I think, going to be the very reason they're going to lose here today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Their rotation is, they have a very effective offensive rotation, but as I commented before, their defensive rotation just leaves a little bit to be desired, especially leaving that net gaping wide open, and these teams are going to exploit it. We've seen the Sour Limes do it. Oh boy. What a save.
All right, at least the block came through on that one. So that does realistically leave this kind of available for the Celts, but 6 seconds left. It's mighty unlikely.
Yeah, and if they're going to do it, they're going to do it right now. They need to keep the ball in the air. This is all desperation at this point.
But nope, dunked right into the ground, and the Sour Limes have done it. They will win a 3-1 victory coming through. That is going to be a relatively strong showing for them. The Celts, like I talked about, you know, they had the opportunity to kick it into high gear, but they could not do it fast enough, and the Sour Limes do walk away victorious.
Yeah, no, and that was just a great, complete game. The Sour Limes took that loss on the chin, and they were able to turn around and put more wins up on the board and secure this one. So that was just incredible. Very, very well done by the Sour Limes to take that added pressure and weather the storm and come back and take the series 3-1.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And speaking of Limes, we will get to interview Unable Lime in just a couple of minutes. We're going to throw it to a super short break. We're going to pull them in here, and we'll get to hear all about the game from one of the players in just a few. Don't go far. Welcome back, everybody, and thanks for sticking with us through that break. We are now here with the team captain and relatable name, Unable Line, the team captain of the Sour Limes. How are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm really excited for this game. It was very stressful in the beginning when we lost the second round.
Right.
We started to break down a little bit. Comms started to get a little quiet. But once we started picking up our goals and stuff, everything, the light in the mood and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So I wanted to ask, my question is a little bit out of the game. I wanted to ask, you mentioned during the break that this is actually your first year, your first tournament working with EGF, and I wanted to ask, what does this victory mean for you guys moving forward?
This victory means that our middle school and our high school gets to play more, like work with EGF more. We're gonna have more computers for playing Rocket League and other games, and we're gonna branch out.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great to hear.
That's fantastic. And I'm going to ask more of a game-related question, right? So being someone that's played the game before, I noticed, your opponents, the Celts, they played a really complete game, but what I seem to notice is that their defensive rotation was mildly lacking. Notably, and I commented on this throughout the game, they seemed to leave their net open quite a lot, and it seemed like towards the later games you guys started to capitalize on that. At what point did you notice that was the case and you started capitalizing on it?
Well, after we lost the second game, we realized that we're getting a lot of pressure put on us, so we decided to put the pressure on them, and then that's when we realized that their defense is not as, I don't know how to explain it, like not as good. So we just put a bunch of pressure on them and capitalized on it.
Yeah, no doubt. And I wanted to ask you two more questions. I'll ask an out-of-game question to keep our pattern going. But I want to ask, is there anybody you wanted to thank or anybody you wanted to shout out while we've got you here with us?
Yeah, I wanted to thank my dad. He's watching right now.
Oh, that's great.
I'm nervous because my first interview and stuff like this. So
That's
it's funny
awesome.
seeing my dad watch.
That's awesome. So I don't know how familiar you are with the rest of the teams, but this has secured your spot. This was a play-in, so this has just secured your spot into the next round moving forward. And I believe you'll be going up against the Blue Devils, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to pull a bracket up here in just a moment. Yeah, you'll be going up against the Huntington Blue Devils, who I'm not sure if you know are considered to be a rather strong team. So I was curious to think, what is your objective moving forward? What do you think you can do to take a victory out from the Devils?
Well, we lost to them twice already, so we kind of understand how they play.
Sure.
I think we're gonna put a lot of pressure on them, like we did with the Celts.
That's perfect. Well, Unable Lime, thank you so much for joining us. A huge congrats to you. To tell your teammates congrats. We only get to speak to one of you, but I mean, all three of you have secured a victory here today, and we'll be watching. We can't wait to see what you do later on.
Thanks.
Great job.
And with that, folks, we're going to throw it to a super short break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with Richardson High School Rocket Eagles up against the North Mesquite Stallions. So don't go far, because those are two very strong teams. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you then. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back. I hope you missed these handsome faces just as much as we missed all of you at home. We are going to be jumping into game 2 of 3 today. I did misspeak earlier. We do have a third game after this one, but for the time being, we've got Richardson High School Rocket Eagles up against the North Mesquite Stallions. And as we were talking about during the break, McFarland, these are two, powerhouse teams.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited for this one. Both of these teams really know what they're doing. I don't expect that we're going to have a very long feeling out period at all in the first game between these two. They're going to figure each other out, and they're going to get right to the attack because that's what they both do best.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree. I think this is going to be, maybe we get like 30 seconds of a feeling out period if we're lucky, but I think we're going to go in swinging on this one. These are two very strong teams. And I was talking about earlier, the Rocket League bracket that we have going on right now, I'm a huge fan of, because a lot of times in brackets, there's a couple of teams that you feel kind of like snuck their way in, but I don't feel that way in the slightest here with this bracket. Every single one of these teams, like, I recognize the names, I recognize the players. These are some crazy teams in every sense of the word, and I'm excited for every single game that we've got going on.
Yeah, no, all of the teams right here that we're seeing here today and beyond, like I said earlier, they all belong here. These are quality teams with quality players. They know what they're doing. They've been in these situations before, and they're you recognize all of them from calling them previously.
Right.
Their reputation precedes them, and this bracket is very strong.
Yeah, I'm particularly very excited for that game. Not only the Sour Limes versus the Blue Devils, but the Titans and the Hilltoppers.
Oh,
Those
yeah.
are both teams that, like, when they're playing at their best, they are unstoppable. We have also seen those teams at their worst. So it really is going to depend on the mentality they show up with and the skill level they're ready to bring to the table. I'm like over the moon for that game. I'm super excited.
Yeah, no, I was able to call a couple games by the Hilltoppers in the last time that we covered high school Rocket League, and they just blew me away. The fact that they're in high school, first of all, and they've already got the skill, that it just blew me away. I was so pleasantly surprised by how mature their games were, how clean and crisp their rotations were, their clearances of the ball was almost perfect, and just the knowledge that these are high schoolers that we're watching right now, it's enough to blow your mind on its own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I could not agree more. I mean, they have honed their craft. And like you said, the fact they're only high schoolers, like, that is absolutely incredible. I've got a huge admiration for that. I think that is great. And we're going to be jumping in just a minute to the Eagles versus the Stallions. And I'm excited for that game I mentioned earlier, but I'm wildly excited for this one. These are two teams known for their aggression. So when two aggressive teams slam into each other, who's going to emerge victorious? There's only one way to find out, and I'm very excited to find out in just a couple of minutes here. But, the Richardson High School, they have kind of what I can call like the Hilltoppers syndrome, kind of, where they, at their best, are very, very good, but there are definitely times where they are not performing at that best level. So I want to see what level of aggression are they ready to bring to the table here today.
And that's going to be very important, too, because North Mesquite doesn't have, from what I've seen, they don't have that kind of on-switch, off-switch type game. It seems like whenever they're on 100%. It'll be a wholehearted effort coming from North Mesquite. So it's going to be very important for Richardson to bring their A game and bring it quickly, because North Mesquite will capitalize on that mistake, and they will make you hurt for it.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And actually, this is going to be a good time, McFarland. I wanted to ask, you mentioned last game, you mentioned Octane versus Dominus, and you're going to do a much better job explaining that than I am. So if you wouldn't mind just breaking that down real quick.
Absolutely. So they're the two main hitboxes that you'll see competitive Rocket League players use. Dominus is longer and shorter, right? So you've got more length, but you don't have that up and down. And when you're using that hitbox, you lose a little bit of power on your hits that you have with the Octane, where the Octane doesn't have the reach, but you get a lot more power behind the ball when you're able to make contact with it. And it's really just a preference thing. I personally like to use my go-to competitive card is actually the Ford F-150, but it uses the Octane. It uses the Octane hitbox, so that's my go-to. But it's really a preference thing. I know fantastic Rocket League players that use the Dominus hitbox.
Yeah, we've definitely seen some players as well. Like, I know that there's a couple of players that we see the Batmobile on occasion. I know that we've seen players genuinely using the Battle Bus before. Like, there are definitely a couple of players here and there that bring out those more unique, those more unusual vehicles. But like you said, Dominus versus Octane, there's a couple of cars that are kind of at the top of those lists, and those are realistically the ones we see most often.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And something interesting, I'm fairly certain it's North Mesquite. I think it's them, where if they get on match point and they're confident in themselves, I'm fairly certain they break out Scarab. I can't remember if it's them. I'm fairly certain it is them. So I'm looking to see if they do get on match point, if I'm right, if I remember correctly, if that is them.
Yeah, I want to see what can be done here, and I'm excited to see, 15 seconds in, we talked about there's not really a feeling out period. We're already seeing that. Nobody's looking to analyze the other team. Nobody's looking to find out what's being brought to the table. It is just pedal to the metal. They are going in just immediately.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it's just what we expected from these two teams. We didn't expect a long feeling out period, and it doesn't look like we're even going to get a feeling out period, as they're already just pressuring up both ends of the field.
This was immediately, people are coming in hot, looking to score, and just like that, we almost have our first one there. Liachu, kind of that silent agent. We always, Chef Billy and I always referred to that player as that kind of assassin, if you will. They're in the right place at the right time, and they just show up. They just show up where they're needed. They appear almost out of nothingness. And Messick now is going to go for another goal, but it's going to be blocked just a little bit. I'm very excited to see, a minute off the clock. What's going to be coming to the table for these teams? like that.
Yeah, Leachu with a great read right there. A failed clearance and another failed clearance leads to him to be able to have a nice touch on that ball. The defender wasn't able to get down in time. That's just really good ball placement. And North Mesquite's going to take that early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, it's going to be, like you said, that early 1-0 lead coming through. And Messick almost able to get things lined up at the beginning there, but it looks like it's not going to be happening quite yet. Now Messick is going to be able to get a little bit more possession of the ball once again, keeping things lined up. I want to see if it's going to be a little bit of aggression coming through. Messick is going to be able to keep... I feel like Messick is all over the ball, but at the same time, we haven't really seen an attempt on goal. So it's like Messick has ball control, finally able to put it toward the goal, but he is going to get right in the way once again.
Yeah, no, Messick, he's another really dangerous player, but he's also he has the potential to be very quiet, right? So he'll have great ball possession, do seemingly everything right, and then just not put the ball on net, which is really interesting.
Absolutely, and I got to point out, you know, they're going to hate me for saying this, but we did watch the Stallions just earlier this week get reverse swept. I commented on that earlier. They were up 2-0, and then they ended up losing 3-2, all because of something that Chef Billy and I have lovingly accommodated as the Scarab incident, where all three of them played Scarab for one of the games, that weird little buggy car, and then they ended up losing 3 games in a row afterwards. So I hope they don't have a momentum dropper quite like that here today.
They do that. No, I had commented on that earlier this game. They do that. If they go up 2 games, they will pull the Scarabs out. They've done that every single time I've watched them. If they go up 2 games, they pull the Scarabs out.
It certainly did not work out last time, so maybe they'll be a little bit nervous about doing it this time, and especially because, you know, they're up 2-0, so maybe that hubris is going to get the best of them once again. Maybe they are going to come back a little bit angrier than they did last time. Maybe they want to win a game with those Scarabs after the slaughter of a game that was the last time they brought out the Scarabs. But just now going into halftime, already being up 2-0, the Stallions looking very strong here at the beginning.
Yeah, no, Stallions looking very, very strong, and that's exactly what we expected from them. They come out flying. They come out of the gate ready to go.
Nice. Yeah.
Silly Fool put that one in, make it a 3-0 game, and they're really just controlling the play right now. You're not even seeing the Purple Eagles get any time in the zone. They're just getting throttled right now.
They really are. I mean, this is actually the most dominant game that we've had the opportunity to cast so far. All the other games were won by 1 or 2 goals. They're already up 3-0, so the Purple Eagles are really struggling to find their footing.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly what we commented on before the game even started. The Purple Eagles have that Summit Hilltoppers syndrome where they're either on top of their game or they're non-existent, and right now they're non-existent. I'm not seeing much of anything. If they want to get back into it, they need to get a good character goal on that, but that's not how to do it.
That's certainly not how to do it. Messick from, halfway across the field, going to be able to get things lined up once again, and now the Stallions have put themselves up 4-0. There's not much the Purple Eagles can do to turn this one around.
But look at where the Purple Eagles players were there, right there. Not a single one of them was back in that defensive zone. They were all in the offensive zone, and that left for an easy goal for Messick. You can't be, especially when you're down like this, you can't be taking those ridiculous chances. Your defense is going to be key for you when the other team's flying high like the Stallions are right now. And if for them to go so far as to ignore their defensive rotation and just not be there at all, that's just foolish the way that the Stallions are playing right now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We see Leachu go for another one, and Trevor is going to be able to get things lined up and away from the goal there. I respect it. You got to play till the bitter end, right? Even if you are down 4-0, you can't really let it get away from you. You've got to go for that mental reset. You've got to try your absolute 100% until that timer hits 0.
Absolutely. The stage that they're playing on cannot be lost to them right now. I can't imagine they're going to roll over and die, but they're certainly not playing the way they'd want to be playing right now.
No, of course. And, the Stallions are certainly going to be back with a vengeance because, like I mentioned earlier, the Scarab incident, they did lose that in a reverse sweep, and that reverse sweep is the reason they have to play this play-in. So had they won that game, they would have just been set in the bracket later on, but because of that loss, it forced them into this play-in scenario. So they are probably here, and they are probably quite angry. They're here to send a message.
Yeah, no, this is going to be statement for them right now. Very important. And you see they're doing it. I mean, that didn't result in a goal, that play right there, but that was a beautiful carry, and it almost resulted in a goal. And they're just keeping the pressure right on. They're going to win if they're going to win, they're going to do it in commanding fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, this isn't about winning, it's about sending a message, right? And that is certainly what the Stallions are looking to do. Winning is just, a bonus. They need to win to move on. That's more of a job at this point, but they are here to show, we don't belong in this plan. We belong further in the bracket.
Yeah, no, and they're just going to make that known. With the first win right there, 4-0, that's just a statement victory for them, where you really didn't even see the Purple Eagles have the ball at all. They really didn't have the ball from what I saw. It was all Stallions the whole game long. Purple Eagles really didn't even have a chance to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't agree more. Even when the Stallions weren't scoring, the Rocket Eagles never really had a chance. I mean, they may have touched the ball less than 15 times in that entire game, which is an absurd thing to say, but so rarely did the Eagles have even close to touching the ball.
Yeah, no, I mean, there was just nothing. There was no spunk in their game. There was no all right, we've dropped a goal here, we've dropped a couple goals, let's get back into the game. There was none of that. It was all Stallions all game long.
Right. Absolutely. The Stallions have just started dominant. I'm curious to see if they can carry that on, because they've been reverse swept. We know it's possible. So we have to see, are they going to burn all of their reserves here in game 1 and 2, or are they going to try to play it out and win 3 in a row?
I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see, though, and as we're getting right underway, we're going to find out early just how the Purple Eagles and the Stallions are going to play the rest of the series out.
I'm honestly shocked to see such aggression, or such, I guess, a lack of aggression from the Purple Eagles. This has really felt like the Stallions showed up, they immediately put themselves in charge, and it's just been that way ever since. He does go for a goal there, but Messick is going to be able to get the defensive block coming through. Silly Foal now going to get a little bit of ball control, but has to get through not one, but 2 defenders. He's going to go up above the goal, setting things up and taking it away to make sure there's no open opportunity for the Stallions to score. But Silly Foal may have found one anyway, goes for the double tap, but will end up a little bit wide of the goal.
And something that's not to be lost with the Stallions is they play a great offensive game, but their defense is also incredibly good, right? They know where to put their guys. They're in the right position a lot of the time. They cover all the angles of attack. So they really, when they're on their game, they play a total and complete game. And now you're seeing again, they're just throwing the ball on the net time and time again. I don't know how long the Purple Eagles are going to be able to withstand this type of pressure.
They're in a scenario, so Liachu is going to score off the, but I was going to say they're in a scenario where they've been forced into 100% defense. And Rocket League is not a game you can win playing defense. You have to put points on line. You have to score. And when the Stallions force the Purple Eagles to their knees like that, there is nothing to do when you're just constantly getting pressured by your opponent.
Yeah, no, and before that goal, we saw 4 or 5 shots get thrown that were just over the net or just hit the post. And that's something where you're just kind of beating your opponent into submission almost, where they don't even have a chance because the ball's just getting thrown on their net and they get stuck. Their rotation broke all the way down. They looked like deer in the headlights the amount of times the ball was getting put on net, and the Stallions were just able to convert on it.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to see Blimp trying to get any kind of value here. A minute and a half off the clock, and the Purple Eagles only being down by 1. So their defense has been stronger here in Game 2, notably so, because at this point, I think they were already down 2 or 3-0. So they've definitely got a little bit more meat on the bone, so to speak. And pull up in a Blimp is going to get ball possession again for RHS, but now, that's an open goal. That's a free one. Purple Eagles put themselves on the board.
Wow, but I want to see this again because Messick looks like he's there, and he turns just directly away. He goes for boost instead of covers the net. That must have been a little breakdown in communication. Maybe they didn't let him know. I don't know what that was, but wow, that was shocking. But very, very fortunate for the Purple Eagles who needed something to get their game going.
Yeah, no doubt about that, but Silly Foal is immediately going to try to negate that goal. It is going to be blocked out by pull-up and a Blimp, but Stallions, I'm getting a little bit of sense of deja vu. They're already putting so much pressure out of the Purple Eagles.
Yeah, no, they've turned the pressure right back on. That it doesn't even look like that last goal phased them because they're just playing the same exact way. They're just pushing the ball on the net. They know. I think that the fact of the matter is they know what they're doing is working right now. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Yeah, I could not have said it better. If it ain't broke, there was no need to try and fix it. We talked about players needing to come in playing what they know, right? And that's exactly what the Stallions are doing. They're just taking it apart, but Yeet right now, that is their second goal. That is going to put the Purple Eagles in the lead for the first time in the entire series. And, I'm starting to feel a little bit like we're watching the Celts again. It's taking a little bit of time, but they are finally starting to warm up.
And this is another thing. Look at where the Stallions players were. there was no one back. There was no one even on the midline. The closest person was Lichu, who was even in the offensive zone, and the best he could do was try and force the guy to the post. There was no, again, the net's wide open. You can't,
Right.
you just can't win like that. And I know it's the Stallions, and I know they've been dominating play, but that's the type of thing that can, you get lulled into a false sense of security, and you'll get owned
Absolutely.
for it.
I think that's a lot of what we're seeing here, right? After a 4-0, anybody is going to feel confident, right? Like, what a good way to start the series. But perhaps the Stallions have felt a little too confident because their goal has been left open many a time so far. And that is really the opportunity that the Purple Eagles have had to score, is because there's just simply no defenders. And
Again!
Again! An open goal! I mean, this is... The Stallions are slipping here.
Yeah, I mean that shot in a regular scenario, that shot right there that just resulted in a goal would have been a non-issue, right? If they were playing their rotation effectively in the way that it should have been played, that shot's an easy clearance by the other team. That's almost a free possession. Instead, that shot rolls all the way down the field, completely uncontested, and ends up in a goal. That is insanity.
Now, we talk about the importance of having an aggressive team, right, to succeed in Rocket League, but that does not mean you can just abandon the defense. Like, that is needed. And, Messick gonna miss what felt like a free goal. All of the defenders had already gotten out of the way, and there is still gonna be some follow-up on it from Silly Full, so that is going to be a great block and follow-up there. So Silly Full goes up and finds it right back down with the double tap.
Yeah, and that's a great goal. But again, you saw all of the Stallions forwards in the offensive zone. Had that ball been effectively cleared by the Purple Eagles, that would have been another goal that they had no chance of saving because they were uber aggressive. The aggression works. I get that, but you're going to get burned. They've been 3 times now. Goals that very easily could have been saved have gone in. So they need to be really careful.
Not just 3 times. 3 times in one game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like 3 times. It's been 3 times in a row in a matter of minutes. So they have been burned quite a few times here. I mean, we're going to have to call the fire department soon if this keeps up, because they are getting brutally burned by their own lack of defense.
Yeah, no, and you'd think they would have adjusted their play in some manner at this point after getting scored on 3 times. But I almost wonder if we were commenting on their hubris earlier. Maybe they're just too proud to be able to switch their play up. Maybe that's the case. I don't know.
I feel like we're really beating them up right now, but at the same time, I feel like this is an insane mistake to be making in play-ins.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first real goal the Purple Eagles have earned. Like that's the first one they had to work for.
Yeah. I mean, look at. I don't want to be overly critical,
Right.
But this is the point that you're at in this tournament. You can't leave anything on the field. You can't leave anything on the field, because if you lose this, you're done. That's it, and you've lost out on so much. And it's
20
such a
seconds
simple
left.
It's such a simple mistake to fix. Stick someone in the defensive end on the rotation. That's it. Put someone on the midline.
I think with the way we've seen the Stallions play, and we know that they are confident in themselves, right? We know that they go for the scarab when they are confident, but at the same time, I think we're looking at 3 players who want to be that all-star player. We talked about that earlier. Every team has a front runner, right? I think all 3 of them want to be that front runner, and that's the very reason that they lost this game right here.
There's a saying, too many cooks in the kitchen cause disaster.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, I think. Everybody wants to be the guy that hammers home that goal. Nobody's willing to play a defensive or a support role even. And because of that, 3 of the Rocket Eagles goals that were scored
for free
normally would have been non-issues.
Right. I mean, the one in particular of Yeet hitting it from his own goal into the other, like that one was just, that hurt. Like that was not good for Mesquite, but now, or not good for Mesquite, but now they lose game 2, right? They've got to fix something. They need to come into game 3 stronger. They need somebody to allow themselves to not be that adrenaline-fueled player. Somebody has to bring it down. They have to go into that defensive style, or the Rocket Eagles could win this entirely off of open goals.
Yeah, no, this is, if they don't make that adjustment right now, right this second, then this is going to be very bad for them.
That's a good start. They made an adjustment. Not exactly a great one, but they get a point online.
Lichu's using an Animus, which is very interesting. I think that's the first time I've ever seen the Animus being used competitively. Huh.
I don't know. You know this game 100 times better than I do.
That's something. Lichu has used a different body in every single game so far. He's
putting on a show. Is it that hubris again, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just lost game 2, so maybe it's just for giggles. Now, McFarlane, you'll know the answer to this. Are they the same style of car? Are they all Dominuses? Are they all Octanes? Or is it like back and forth?
Some of the cars, like I'm fairly certain the Animus is actually a. I want to say it uses the plank hitbox, so it's way flat. It's way flat. The last 2 cars he used, I believe, were Dominus hitboxes, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he's not been loyal to one hitbox. I'm just
but this looks like the outlier here.
Yeah, this is new. This is new.
Yeah, this is interesting. I wonder what they're setting up. What's the plan off of that? If I knew, I'd tell you. I don't. Fair enough.
I don't mess around with my hitbox much at all. Beyond Dominus and Octane, that's where I sit, and that's where most players sit. People use the plank if they plank is more for uber aerial people, right? So the ones that are in the air just as much, if not more, than are on the ground. So if that's what he's going to go for, then I'll be interested to see how it plays out for him. But
those are my favorite players to watch personally. Are the ones that keep it up in the air, the ones that because that's my favorite thing about Rocket League. Is it is a 3-dimensional game in the most sense of the word. You're not just going horizontal, you're not going side to side and forward, like you are going up and down as well. And that to me, mind-blowing. I love it.
And there's so many moving parts to Rocket League too. Not only the hitbox, not only your playstyle, there's rotations, there's call-outs, there's communication. The ball has curvature to it, like it doesn't just go in one direction, it can go anywhere. There's just so many moving parts, and not even to mention the mental factor of this game. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Rocket League is one of the most mental games you can play.
Absolutely.
So many moving parts is just what makes it an incredible game to play and an incredible game to watch.
Yeah, and the mental is so important too, right? Because this is a unique thing of Rocket League. There's only 3 people per team. So if one person's mental is busted, if only one person is kind of down in the dumps and upset, like that can damage the entire team because 2 people really struggle to make up for one person here when there's only 3 people on a team. So that is really, like you said, the mental is so crazy important here.
Yeah, no, there's no part of this game that's unimportant. Oh!
Nice, phenomenal follow-up. Phenomenal follow-up there.
Outstanding. That is just endurance right there, where the first shot doesn't go in, but you're able to power that secondary through. That's very important, and that puts Mesquite up 2-0 here. I haven't seen a scenario like last game, so it's almost looking like they may have fixed that issue, which is very, very, very important and good to see because that really could have burned them.
Yeah, there was one moment toward the beginning where they were getting very aggressive, and I think it was Messick who stayed in the back line quite like this. And Messick seems to have decided they will be in that goalie position, and it's very clearly working out. That's 2 blocked goals already.
Yeah, no, their defensive rotation already looks leaps and bounds better than that game 2 rotation did. Yeah. You can see how they've got someone sitting in the net at all times, and then the other 2 rotating to corner and midline. So they've got
They're even rotating who's in goal.
Yeah, no, there's not one person playing all-time goaltender. They've got a very strong rotation going on in the defense. Yeah. And because of that, the Purple Eagles haven't been able to get really anything going right now so far this game.
No, hats off to Mesquite. We commented on it. They listened. They've made some huge defensive changes here, and that is just great adaptation. And that's what this game is all about, right? You are never going to play 2 teams that are the same.
Yeah, no, and that's the highlight of a winning team, though, is to be able to make that adjustment. Find what's going wrong for you and be able to switch your game. And that's something that's very hard to do. It's hard to admit sometimes that your own game has a flaw in it. The way that you're playing isn't the best in the world. But when you can swallow that pill and then fix the mistake, that shows a maturity in your game, but B, the skill of who you are as a player and what your team is.
Oh! Been a blimp, gonna pull up with the first point online for the Purple Eagles. 56 seconds to score again. Now you look at it, theoretically, it didn't score once in 4 minutes, right? So it's like, are they gonna be able to score again in less than 8 minutes?
However, this is Rocket League, right?
Right, exactly.
One thing can switch the momentum to such a point where the entire game can go out the window, and you're gonna have something completely new. Look at that.
Like that, perhaps?
This is Rocket League. I'll say it. I'll say it again.
It certainly is. It certainly is, my friend. This has been, we accidentally called it exactly how it was going to happen, and it did. So that is the Purple Eagles tying things back up 2-2, and the Stallions. That was what, 15 seconds, and all of a sudden, their 2-0 lead is gone.
Yeah. I'd like to point out I've predicted the future not once but twice so far. This
You are a wizard, McFarland. I want to see now. Trevor, this is a player whose name I don't think I've said yet. I think that is the first time his name has come out of my mouth. So I want to see maybe a little bit more in that department, in kind of that third player department here for the Purple Eagles.
Yeah, no, he's been really quiet. I don't know what Trevor is doing in terms of but I can't say that I've said his name in that he's made a mistake either. He's just kind of been quiet.
Very true.
He's just kind of been quiet.
He's kind of a middleman, if you will. Liachu. That's got to be it. That's got to be game 3. I mean, the Purple Eagles, they've got 9 seconds. We've seen them do it once already. We know they can do it, but it's a tough ask.
I don't know if I'm going to... 9 seconds, they have to... The way that this needs to go down is they need to immediately win the faceoff, force the ball down the field, and drop it into the net. That's the only way they're taking this game.
Now they've got the faceoff here. They've got the ball possession near the goal of the Stallions, but they go a little bit wide to the right of the goal. Some great defense comes through, and now I expect a spike from Mesquite straight up into the air rather than into the ground, and there it is. There's the dunk from Liachu. That will secure that victory. Now, there was that moment. The Eagles, they were close, but the defense from the Stallions were simply just better. Their defense really became very strong there in Game 3.
Yeah, no, and that's the mainline difference between Game 2 and Game 3. Game 2, their defense was, I would go so far as to say it was atrocious. That Game 2 defense was awful.
I agree.
But this game, you saw them turn it completely around to a complete 180, and they stopped multiple grade A chances coming from the Purple Eagles. So that was a fantastic shift in play for them, and because of that, they're up 2-1 here, and they're on match point here.
Yeah, no, this was I would agree. I would go as far to say that's that's very not good defense from Mesquite in that second game. But in the third game, we called them out. They listened, and the defense was a lot better. So like I said, hats off to Mesquite for that. First of all, very quick adaptation and incredible improvement as well. But now the Rocket Eagles, they are down 2-1. They've got to put this second game away. They've got to force a Game 5, or they will unfortunately not make it any further than play-ins.
Yep. And interestingly enough, seems like Mesquite has learned from their past mistakes.
Yep,
and
I was going to say it too.
They have pocketed the Scarab.
No Scarabs today. They are not trying to relive the Scarab incident that I got to witness firsthand, but they are coming in very strong. Silly Full able to find that first goal. I think that may be the second game in a row that they find the first goal in sub 20 seconds. So that's going to put the Stallions in a small lead, but a lead nonetheless.
And I do want to commend Liachu for using my go-to car right now. He busted out the F-150, and I'm very happy to I'm very happy to see that being used right now. It's my favorite body in the game.
We are simple folk. You play a car we like and we enjoy it. It is not much to ask, but I guess mine is asking people to play the battle bus in a tournament setting. Probably not the best idea, but I get a kick out of it every time. And Pull-Up and Blimp is going to find that demo onto Liachu, but the ball possession was still in favor of the Stallions, so there really wasn't much the Purple Eagles were able to do on the follow-up. So going to be knocked back into that 3v3 scenario. The ball up and around Liachu toward the goal, and the block unfortunately just not there. I want to see that in slow-mo because they were in the right spot. I think they were just too far back.
Yeah, no, and that's a great read by Silly Fool right there.
Oh, he's late!
Yeah, he's just straight up late. I don't know. They had 2 men in the net, and neither of them got up in time to block that. That's I thought
crazy. Trevor was just too deep, but no, they just weren't in the right spot at all.
Yeah, no, that was a breakdown. That's a defensive breakdown. They had two. If you want my opinion as to what I think just happened, they were both in the net, and nobody called for it, so both of them thought the other was going to go up to the ball. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. They didn't want to clash into each other, so neither of them went for it. And now Messick finding a third already. I feel like we're watching Game 1 all over again. A bit of deja vu coming through, and as the Purple Eagles, we're looking at a worst case scenario right now.
Yeah, I mean you're down in the series. This is match point, and you've got nothing to show for it. They're not producing anything right now. It's just nothing.
Yeah, and speaking of producing things, huge shout out to our producer Juke hanging out in the back line. What a guy, good friend, and a great producer. That felt just like a good time to throw that in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. But now we are a minute 20 off the clock, and the Stallions 3-0. Now we saw the Purple Eagles come back 2-2, right? They were able to clutch it back, but now adding another goal on top of that, that's tough.
Yeah. The Purple Eagles, what they need to happen right now is they need North Mesquite to completely ignore their defense again. That's about how I see them getting back into this game. And the way that their rotation is going right now, I don't see that happening because they're playing a full one. they're pulling a full 360-degree game right now. That is a smart use of the demolition.
I was just about to say that same thing. That's the first smart demo I think we've seen all game, because it immediately just obliterates all ball possession right there. Yep. Immediately goes for a full reset and gives both teams an opportunity to come through. We see pull up and a blimp going for the goal. What a good pass! That was some of the best coordination we've seen from them all day.
Yeah, no, that's a great play. Pull up and a blimp puts it off that corner, which is a huge place to put that ball. You see many players utilize that back corner. It pops right up to Yeet, who's able to just drop it into the back of the net. That's a beautiful passing play. Plenty of time left on the clock as well. I'd like to point out, 3 minutes left in this game. They can come back.
That's an eternity. Yeah, no, 3 minutes is a lifetime in the world of Rocket League, so there is more than enough time for them to come back. But, you know, if the Stallions score again, of course that's going to get harder. So we really do need to see the Eagles find 1 or 2 points before the Stallions get the opportunity to score anymore. Half of the game is gone. We've seen 4 points already. So from a theoretical standpoint, you know, there's plenty of time for the Purple Eagles to score. But this is Rocket League. Theoreticals don't matter here. Anything can happen in a matter of seconds.
Oh, my.
Oh!
Oh, my.
That one was brutal. That was fantastic.
Wow. Lee Chu's set up to this is immaculate, though. Look at him carry it, put it right off that post. That is an immaculate setup. And Silly Full with the ability to read that. That was a grade A play right there.
Yeah, the worst part is pull up and a blimp went to jump and hit it and set it up even more. Now, don't get me wrong. Had he not jumped, that was going in either way, but it just made the setup look all the better. So, from a completely cosmetic standpoint, you know, he really set his opponent up for the great goal there. But, yeah, that would have been in either way. And now 1-4, so a 3-point difference. We're basically back to where we were a minute ago. 120 seconds left on the clock. I'm worried for the Eagles here.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Mesquite, you're not seeing a real hole in their game right now. Ever since they patched up that defensive hole, I've seen no chinks in the armor. It's been straight grade A Rocket League the whole way through. I'm real worried for the Purple Eagles here. Time's winding down, and I'm not seeing a hole in the game for Mesquite.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not really seeing a hole in the game at all here. And, you know, I'm shocked to see that second game came from this same team.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just for giggles or if they were just like having a really offset for a couple of minutes, but
if we get someone in someone in for an interview, I'm absolutely going to have to see what that adjustment was like.
Yeah, we got to find out what happened there in game 2, and I'm sure they're ready for us to bring that up if they come into the interview after this one. But now 70 seconds on the clock. We can unfortunately probably say goodbye to the Purple Eagles here. Yeah. 3 times in 70 seconds is don't get me wrong, it's possible, right? The fastest I've ever seen I've seen 4 goals in 30 seconds. That was the fastest I've ever seen, but that was a once in a lifetime scenario, and that was not from either of these teams. So this was, like I said, unfortunately we may have to kiss the Purple Eagles goodbye here.
Yeah, no, but I think they've just seen the beast that is North Mesquite, because when North Mesquite is on, they are lights out. Just
no doubt.
Grade A, and we've seen it here this game, and we saw it in game 1, where the 2 prime examples of if North Mesquite is on, you better watch out, because they're gonna make you, they're gonna burn you all the way through.
Yeah, and they certainly have. They've done that. They came back from a pretty aggressive loss there in game 2, and they haven't looked cleaner since. I mean, it is just they've looked so good this entire time. I'm disappointed to see the Purple Eagles not put up the performance that we expected, but at the same time, Mesquite was the #1 seed entering today, just in general. So, or entering the tournament rather. So I'm not surprised to see them win in such an aggressive fashion.
No, yeah, and we all knew coming into this what Mesquite was capable of in terms of their offense and in terms of their ball possession. So we knew what they were capable of, and predictably, they've won this one. You hate to say goodbye to the Purple Eagles. They did play some solid Rocket League. Really, that game 2 was really some great opportunistic Rocket League, but unfortunately, they weren't able to string 3 games together, and the Stallions are going to move right along into the final bracket.
Well, yeah, you know, unfortunately for the Purple Eagles, their first matchup was the Stallions, but it had to be someone, right? That's how the bracket works. Somebody has to fall, and the #1 seed is probably going to win that matchup. So, unfortunately for the Purple Eagles, this is goodbye. But for the Stallions, way to make a comeback, especially after the Scarab incident earlier this week. And now we will get to interview Lee Chu in just a couple of minutes. We're going to throw it to a super short break, and we'll be right back with that interview in just a few. What is going on, everybody, and welcome back for the interview. We are going to be here with as we've been calling the casting booth, kind of the assassin on the side of this team. It's going to be Liachu. How are you feeling? First question. How you feel?
I feel great that we just pummeled the team into the ground. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, so my first question, speaking of getting pummeled, my first question, your last game earlier this week did not exactly go super well for you, and I was curious, you fall into the playoffs, which as the number one seed, or the play-ins, excuse me, and as the number one seed, that's not a spot we often see you. So were you guys coming in today kind of, this is about sending a message more than it is winning? I mean, it's definitely an unusual spot, but I assume you were pretty confident with your play style going into this today.
Oh yeah, we're always confident before we go into a game. My mindset going into a game is always GG go next. This is the easiest game of our lives. But last week, I feel like, I mean, not last week, last game was a choke. We that was just a big on our side.
Sure.
Yeah. But going in the play-ins, like, it is what it is, but honestly, it's still gonna be pretty easy. Let's be real. It's gonna be easy. I don't have a worry about losing this. This is gonna be the easiest game of our lives.
Okay, so my question is what in God's name happened in that game 2? Because you guys played a complete game 1, played a game 3, complete game 3, and a game 4. But that game 2, your goals were coming in that at this point in the tournament shouldn't be going in. What exactly happened right there in terms of the defensive breakdown in that secondary game?
Yeah, so my eyes were closed for one. My monitor was off, and just some bad rotations and some bad comms too. Even though I was blind, we couldn't really see much. I had to turn my eyes off. It was just, usual.
It was really interesting though, because we commented on it, and then game 3, your defense, your rotations were back to just as strong as ever. So yeah, that second game really stood out.
Yeah, it was definitely pretty bad. Definitely took our confidence down a little bit, but my ego's so high to the point where bringing it down is nothing. Yeah. So
yeah, no, fair enough. I mean, I guess that's one good mindset to have, right? It's the confidence, the mental reset. I dig it. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. And I'll ask the final question here is going to be, moving into the bracket. You've survived play-ins. You've made it into the official bracket, and I want to ask, what are you looking at in the future? I feel you're confident in your gameplay. I feel you think you can make it to the end. And I think, I off the top of my head, I don't know who the next team you're playing is, but how do you feel moving forward for the rest of this?
I feel great for the teams that have to come up against us when we destroy them. But, I'm feeling great. I'm the one that always brings up my team's mental, which is nice. I'm like
absolutely.
The wall for my team whenever we get
and I want to ask, have you played Wildcats Blue before, Wilson Central? Because that is the next team you're going up against.
I'm not 100% sure, but if we have, I probably didn't remember because it was easy.
Well, that is going to bring this interview to a close. So, Liachu, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to be jumping into our next game, which has actually been changed. The game that McFarland and I were both super excited about, the Titans versus the Hilltoppers, coming up in just a couple of minutes. So we will see you folks then. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back for our third and final game of the day. As I mentioned, this is not the game we were supposed to have, but there was a scheduling conflict with the other Summit High School team, actually. So instead, we've got the Hilltoppers versus the Titans. And McFarland, I know you and I have been, or the last game of ours today, not the last game today. I should rephrase that immediately. There's a lot more left to be done today. Sorry about that. But either way, I know McFarland, you and I were talking about this. We are both really excited about this game.
Yeah, no, these are both real powerhouse teams. Both of these teams are well known to be top of the top when they're on their game. Both of them.
Yeah.
I expect nothing less than just a fantastic series coming into this.
Yeah, and I don't expect any of the mistakes that we saw coming through. I mean, we saw like with Mesquite's second game, I've been beating it up a lot, but it's like those are huge mistakes you should not be making in the tournament. And Mesquite, they still win the series, so it's not game ending for them or anything. But the fact they let that happen at all, that's a weakness. There's a crack in the armor there. There is an opportunity there for teams to take advantage of. But the Titans and Hilltoppers, they are teams, I've said this already, that they have played both sides of the coin before. They have been some of the best that we've seen, and they've both gotten kicked into the ground pretty aggressively as well. So it's going to be, either they both come in great, or I feel like they're both going to come in. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're both going to come in on the same energy, and I hope it's the best they have to offer.
You know what? You say you think they're both going to come in with that same level of play, but really you don't know. Like there is certainly the possibility that, say, the Titans come in with a whole heap of power and just lay it on, or the opposite might happen. The Hilltoppers might come in with all of it on. You don't know until the ball actually drops. So I'm really excited to see how this ends up playing out. Maybe both teams will come in lights out, but we're getting underway here, so let's find out.
Yeah, we're going to jump into it here. The Hilltoppers versus the Titans, two powerhouse teams. We see Tryson coming in. One of my good friends, IRL, as well. Tryson going to be getting a lot of damage here out the gate. It looks like we're going to see Wall Python immediately going to be able to turn things around toward the goal of the Hilltoppers. I like this game a lot more because the colors are way different, so it's a little easier to tell what's going on here.
Yeah, it's
mostly because I'm colorblind, but it's fine. I like it.
It's a little bit easier on the eyes.
Yeah, we've actually got a lot of recognizable names in here. Ruggy, one of our #1 chatters in chat, is making an appearance. Dark Risky as well. So that might just be regular Dark. I get them mixed up. I think there's two of them.
Hang on. What in the why? Oh man.
Good start. Good start.
Wow. Okay. Just gonna move right beyond that.
Yeah, so these are also two EGFH All-Star players. We've got Ruggy and Wall Python, I believe, each on one team. I think Ruggy is on the Hilltoppers. I believe Wall Python's on the Titans. So both of these teams are being led by kind of an all-star player.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to see. If in the perfect world, you've got the one all-star and you've got your support and defensive, respectively. Now, if that's the case, both of these teams can be looking forward to very exciting games and very close games. Don't make my advice would be, don't make the same mistake that we saw Mesquite make in Game 2 right there. But that's a fantastic demolition goal right there.
Yeah, but the Hilltoppers, Dark just set up that goal, and that was not his goal to... Oh, that's rough. That's rough. Dark, that was a perfect setup. Like, if you were on the same team, I would be talking about how good that is. That was rough.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So now we've seen two pretty decent mistakes here in the opener for this one. You saw an own goal, and you saw somebody setting up the other team. So
this is
interested to see how this plays out.
The most complicated 0-0 I've ever seen. Neither of these goals have really been well-deserved, but they get them online here, and I think the Titans are a lot better, Shihan are a lot better at controlling the momentum of the matchup, but at the same time, I think the Hilltoppers are great at adapting to that, so I think that could kind of be a back-and-forth scenario. Here comes Tryson, but going to be caught out by that all-star player, Wall Python.
Yeah, no, just both of these teams are so talented, and they have the potential to do so much in this matchup, but it seems like they both came into this one a little bit off their usual. Yet I know we were talking about maybe one will come in strong and one will come in weak, or they'll both come in strong. Well, I think they might have both come in a little bit weaker than they would have liked here, so...
Yeah, you beat me to the punch on that one. I have to agree. They are, nobody's looking bad, right?
Yeah.
But both of these teams would be getting rolled by the two previous winners that we've seen today.
Yep.
So they're definitely starting on a slow note. They're starting a little bit lower, kind of in the momentum and pacing. But I guess the benefit for both teams is their opponent is also doing that. So
yeah, I guess if you want to pull a positive out of this thing, they're both playing poorly. So I guess there's really no You know, it'll be interesting. This will be an interesting series.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Either way, I'm still excited to watch it. I think I'm just a big fan of these teams because I've casted them both quite a few times, and Tries in there with the dunk, going to be able to find that second goal onto the Titans just under halftime. So we see coming through just one opportunity here for the Hilltoppers. They've taken the lead.
Wall Python, I don't know what that attempt was right there. He really didn't even move. It almost looked like he got sucked all the way into the net, and to the point where he couldn't even do anything. Like, he didn't even jump for it. He just kind of took it. That was interesting.
Yeah, I agree. This has been, I don't know, this has been the most entertaining series for me so far, I think, simply because I have no idea what's going on. Every time something happens, whatever you expect to happen, the exact opposite is coming at us every time. So we've seen some very unique opportunities here. This feels like a low-scoring game after that series we just came from, because every game, I think, was like 4, 5, 6 points on line, and now we've only got 3, and the game very well could end with this very scoreline.
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point in the game, neither of these teams have been really laying on the pressure, so it's very certainly possible that this is just it. This is the score line, because the ball has spent an inordinate amount of time in the middle of the field. So
I want to see 90 seconds left on the clock. The Hilltoppers, like I said, it's weird that they're in the lead to me, right? Because at the same time, I feel they've been on more of the defensive back foot. I feel like Xi'an has had the lead in terms of aggression, but at the same time, the Hilltoppers, because of that own goal earlier on, it's got them winning the game, possibly.
Yeah, this is Rocket League. That's my answer to that.
It certainly is. And there it is, Ruggy trying to bring us back to the normality. I feel like we're in like the upside down version of Rocket League right now. But Ruggy is finally going to put a well-earned goal online. So we see the Hilltoppers going up 3-1 here with 1 minute and 4 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, no, and that's just a really nice setup play. Ball goes off the crossbar right down into shooting area for the other player. So just a really well executed offensive possession right there.
Oh, wow. Great on Alien to find that. Dark almost got a full field goal, but Alien just barely able to knock it up. And Josh with the double demo, so a current 1v3, but the respawn comes through before you can even realize it happened. And that actually was probably a good example of a bad demo, I think, because then they respawned in front of their own goal, and it was impossible for the Titans to score.
Yeah, no, that was definitely an example. We've been talking about good and bad demos so much these few games, but it really is. It comes into play more than you'd realize. Like right there, that was a bad demolition. It got the players back to where they needed to be, and because of that, there was really no pressure. Nothing came out of there.
Yeah, no, there was no pressure off the back of that. I'm sorry, my feed is breaking up a lot at the moment. I'm not sure if it's my internet or what, but I'm going to try to get that reset. So McFarlane, take the wheel here.
All right, so we got 8 seconds left. Ruggy's just going to try and clear this one out. Josh is going to try and get one more on net there. Going to look for Summit to just knock this one down, and they will spike it to the ground, and that'll finish up this first game. Summit winning with a really, I would say, one of the most interesting victories I have ever seen.
That's a word for it. That's certainly a word for it. This has been a rather unique turnaround on the side of the Hilltoppers, but a win is a win, right? I mean, that is also, shout out to the Hilltoppers' lowest ping we've seen all day, 16, 20, and 24. My goodness, they got some good internet wherever they're hanging out right now, but, you know, they are definitely, that was clunky, but I don't want to say anyone did poorly, right? Other than those first 2 goals at the beginning, after that, both the teams were playing at an equivalent level to one another. And I think that's part of the reason they looked so bad is because everybody was playing on par. So it's no team really got to run away with it.
I'm looking for both of these teams to make an adjustment after that.
Oh, I agree.
Though.
I still agree on that much, yeah.
I certainly believe that they're not good. Neither of those teams, even Summit for having won that, I have to believe neither of them are going to be very happy with what happened in that game, because it was really, you said it was the perfect word you used. It was clunky. That was a clunker of a game. Yeah. I mean, there was just so much wrong that ended up being right for one team. It was quite bizarre. So really looking for a cleanup on both ends of the field this game.
Yeah, I think we may be able to expect that, especially because I'm not sure how prepared these players really came into the game today. I'm not sure really how much they warmed up, so on and so forth. But the more you play in a competitive setting, obviously, the better you're going to feel about it, the further in you get. So I want to see how much aggression can the Titans bring to the table, as well as the Hilltoppers. It's going to be one of those 1v1 scenarios again of kind of which one of these teams can find an early lead and run with it.
Yeah, no, that's going to be most important is who can get that first goal up, because that opening goal can really define how the rest of the game is going to play out. You know, puts one team back on their heels, and for some teams, they stay on their heels for the entire game after getting scored on. So it's really important. The first goal is really an all-important goal. Really opens up the story and gets the momentum flowing.
That might be it!
And there it is!
That was clean. That was a good one from Ruggie. Ruggie has been, I've got to say, probably the cleanest player of the game so far.
Yeah, no, but
I'd
like to commend, not to cut you off right there, but I'd like to commend Dark right there for stripping the ball off the defender and getting it right there for Ruggie to tap it in. That was immaculate.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think Ruggie has scored the only 2 goals where I've been like, yeah, that's deserved. Like, that's a clean goal. Yeah, you're totally right that the Dark absolutely set Ruggie up for that one. So far, the 2 of them getting a great dynamic, and realistically, a strong duo could be even better than a clunky trio, right? So if the 2 of them can really take this and run away with it, I think that would be a great opportunity. Not to cancel out Trizen or anything. I think they've still got plenty of opportunity to play as well, but I think we're seeing a really good kind of Dark and Ruggie, Dark with the setup, Ruggie with the follow-through kind of scenario.
Yeah, no, this has really been, the 2 of them have been a really dynamic duo, at least in the beginning of this game, so really looking to see how that ends up playing out. And maybe Trizen will just play a really good defensive role this game.
Very true. Everybody needs a goalie, right? There is no small role in the form of a Rocket League team, because if all 3 are being too offensive, you'll lose. If all 3 are being too defensive, you'll lose. So you really do need to have that good dynamic between the team. Here's Dark with an attempted setup, but it is going to go a little bit wide to the right. Trizen's going to be there to catch it this time around, so that's going to be exactly what needs to be done. But we see a little bit more pressure coming out on the side now of the Titans. They're trying to not allow these setups to come through. And talk about setups, that was perfect, but Alien was just in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, no, that was a good defensive coverage right there, because that was almost a perfect setup. I mean, just the mindset that had to be there for him to say, all right, I'm going to tap this down right now as he's curling in. That was beautiful.
Right.
Almost.
And I've talked about this before. I don't think I've brought it up yet today, though. Is the Hilltoppers one of their strongest valuables? I guess one of their strongest assets as a team is their communication. You never see them double commit, triple commit. It always seems to be they know someone is going to do something, and there's always the appropriate follow-up afterwards. So that is definitely something I can tip my hat to them for. Is they're very good with their comms.
Their comms are great, and their responses to things are immaculate as well. They have a great counter-punch system that they like to run, and it's almost perfect.
What?
Wow.
Hello?
What? Just hang on. Did that
a
really
full field goal, and Josh just must not have had boost. Just could not do a darn thing.
I really hope that's the case. I certainly hope. But even if he didn't have boost, you would have expected him to like flip at the ball, get some speed going, something. He just watched it.
He just kind of waddled his way toward him. I was like, I'm not going to make it. That was a little rough. Yeah, there's like, oh, shucks. Darn, we'll get him next time.
This isn't really the stage that I'd be giving the shucks, get him next time speech to.
I have to agree. I'm all about GG go next, but just watching the ball go into goal, I don't think is a good way to do that.
No.
That was funny. That was good. Thank you, Titans, for that chuckle.
This has been a very chuckle-filled
I have to agree. I feel like we saw 2 really high-level games, right? Like really, like best of the best that we have to offer. And I'm not trying to insult the Titans and the Hilltoppers, but they do feel a little bit like a step down from that position. They feel maybe like they can play to par, but when they're playing each other on this level, there's nobody to play on par with.
Yeah. It's like they're both playing down to each other, which is
right. Exactly.
It's funny.
This has been a fun one. I've got to say, I've been having a good time. But now, see, 60 seconds on the clock, and Trizen looking to block this goal. Even if they don't, it's not the end of the world. You know, you're still up by 1. There's only a minute on the clock. But as we saw earlier today, 2 goals in a minute, more than doable. 2 goals in 15 seconds was doable earlier today. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. You know, and I say as long as there's any 2 points or less difference and 30 seconds on the clock, the game's not over. But 3-point difference with 40 seconds on the clock, the game is probably over.
Yeah, you know what I can honestly say about this game, though, and that's a really nice read off the backboard right there on that goal. What I can honestly say about this set, though, is it's nice to not... I'm saying different things this game. I'm not going back to the same caster tropes, like their rotations like this, their defenses like this. I'm able to bring some, like, completely new commentary into this.
Yeah, they're bringing us brand new Rocket League. I mean, like, what do we say about this? Like, this has been such a unique game. We've really gotten, like you said, to talk about things we don't normally get to talk about, but these teams are playing in such a unique style, an unusual fashion that we can really kind of hone into it a little bit.
Yeah, and that's the second time this game that we've seen a full field goal, which is...
I'm shocked it's only the second, to be honest, with the way this has been going.
Yeah, I'm just so lost. You know what's funniest about this is we came in so hyped up for this set,
and then it's like the most confusing. You know it's weird when the collegiate player is like, I don't know what's going on. That's when you know you've got something weird going on.
I'm just so lost right now. I played EGF college. I played EGF's college for 2 years.
This is probably the most confusing game.
I'm absolutely lost. I cannot make intelligent commentary on this because I don't even know what in the hell is happening.
I don't even want to, like, I don't think anyone's doing, like, awful, right? Like, this isn't two teams doing horribly. That's why it's confusing, right?
Yeah.
Because nobody's doing bad, but at the same time, nobody's, like, really running away with this. It's very one-of-a-kind game. And again, I think it's because nobody has someone to play up to.
Yeah. Like, there's no reputation in this, right? It's not like, oh man, we got to bring our next level of play because we've got this team here. It's not there.
This is also the type of game, the type of series where at any point the Titans could turn this around and I'd just be like, yeah, all right, like sure,
yeah. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna run into this next one. Maybe something will happen. Maybe this will be some of the highest level Rocket League we've ever seen.
Oh, I was also just informed that Shihan, the Titans, are currently the defending champions. And they are about to get 3-0'd by the Hilltoppers in a qualifier, or not, in a semi-final, a quarterfinal.
Maybe. We don't know that.
That's true. That's true. Maybe the Titans, maybe the G Fuel's kicked in. Maybe they're ready to go. Maybe their caffeine is high and ready.
They got their limited edition Sonic the Hedgehog G Fuel cans. They're ready to go now.
They've got it all lined up. They got to keep their heads up high. And now, I mean, 45 seconds off the clock and no points on line. That's the first time we've seen that in this series so far. So maybe the Titans are finally going to come back for this one.
Maybe, but also I'd like to point out that no team has really taken a challenging shot on net also.
You got a point there, man. You got a point there, my friend.
It's just kind of been, all right, we're going to leave the ball in the middle of the field. Maybe something will happen.
Like, I don't know, somebody will hit it, right? That's the point of the game, one way or another. Somebody makes contact with the ball.
I'm still lost here. That's a... Ooh.
Hello?
Ooh, what was that shot? But also, why was the defense not there?
The Titans are incredibly lucky that did not go in.
Oh.
Like, that was pure luck. That was dumb luck. There was a 0% skill factor in the fact that ball did not go into the goal.
Yeah, no, they were literally just falling out of the air and so happened to touch the ball in a manner that made it so it didn't go in.
Man, this is great. This is my favorite game of the day, hands down. This has been so interesting. And oh no way! And that doesn't go in?
Wow.
So we just, like, at what point in time did it become opposite day? Because that is all this series has been.
I feel like I'm in, like, upside down land right now. I don't know what is even right at this point. Like, nothing that's happening on this field is making any sense to me.
The two own goals, the ball not going in when it should, the ball not going in, or going in when it shouldn't. I mean, this has been great. Huge shout out to the Titans and Hilltoppers for giving me the most entertaining Rocket League I've seen in a long time. This has been a blast.
I can't say that I've ever seen anything like this. Not while playing, not while casting, and that doesn't go in. I don't know.
Let me tell you what, McFarland. I've seen a lot of Rocket League, and this certainly is some, right? This certainly is some Rocket League.
This is definitely Rocket League.
Oh man.
You know what? I'm trying to provide, like, intelligent commentary here.
In the nicest way. There's so little to say.
No.
Like, there's This team, come on! No way!
Come
No
on!
way! That doesn't go in! No way! What is going on? We are 3 minutes and 20 seconds into this match, and I don't think anybody's even shot on goal on purpose yet. I think these have been sheer accident up to this point.
Oh my goodness. Anything here? Nope. Okay. All right. Good. This. You know what? If this keeps going the way that it's going right now, this could go into overtime and rival the longest overtime I've ever played in.
The longest overtime I've ever seen was 7.5 minutes. I'm so terrified by the way this game has gone that that's exactly where we're gonna end up.
Oh man.
I'm like close to tears. This is killing me. Like this is like the best game of Rocket League that I have been a part of in so long. What a good day. What a good day to broadcast this game.
Is if this does end up being a really long overtime and nothing changes, it's going to be a really long overtime of us spewing nonsense because we can't think of anything intelligent to say.
Yeah, it's like these again. I want to emphasize these teams are not doing poorly.
No,
but no one's doing anything. There's nothing to talk about.
I don't know what's happening. Nobody's doing. I mean, no shot has been particularly dangerous, and then when they are, it doesn't go in.
I said this once already. I'll say it again. That's the first goal I've seen that feels intentional. That is the first thing I've seen where I'm like, oh yeah, they meant to do that. Wall Python, the all-star player of the Titans, trying desperately to not push us into overtime, and I appreciate that so much.
Thank you so much. But now, also, we've extended this series to another game.
Oh,
nothing changes.
Oh no!
So.
Oh no! Rocky! Rocky, no! Oh man, I'm not one to root for a team. I'm just rooting not for an overtime. That's all I want. That's all I want.
Rocky, what have you done?
Everybody that has seen me cast any of the games that I cast knows that I hate draws. I hate draws. I hate overtime. I just want a clean-cut winner. I don't mind going into extra rounds. I love that even. But I hate overtime. I hate draws. And the fact that the only points in this game were scored in the last 15 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm furious.
This is certainly a video game. I'm not even
really
going to call it
man.
Rocket League. I'm not even going to call it Rocket League anymore. This is just a video game.
This is certainly some variation of esports. It certainly is. Come on, somebody's got to put it away. Someone's got to just slam dunk the ball, grow some legs. I don't know, just grow some arms and just slam dunk this bad boy.
Just throw it.
I don't know.
Somebody get spikes from like Spike Rush or something, and just
somebody hand me a controller, put me in. Let's just do something with it. I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. Let's go! Let's go! Wall Python only 50 seconds into the overtime. Gonna secure that second point. And that does extend to the series. But like I said, I don't mind that one bit. I'm okay with the series going a little bit longer.
Yep, that was a game, and there was scores.
It sure
scoring
was.
happened. At some juncture. I feel as though I've lost credibility as a caster and as a human for having just called that game.
I feel like I've lost credibility as a human being for casting that game. I think I'm certain I may still be sleeping. I may have slept through my alarm and I'm currently missing work today, but that felt so unreal. Like that felt like a dream. I made a comment at the beginning. I think I would, if Shihan brought this back, I wouldn't be surprised. But the fact that this is the series we've had with the defending champions, the Titans are like the people to beat. And it has been this series. This has been fascinating is the word I'm going to use.
Yep.
I'm like at a loss. I don't even know what to go over. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't even know how to tell them to play differently because that's the crazy part is no one's doing poorly, but at the same time, no one's doing, like, nobody's standing out. We've got we've got no star-studded players in here right now. It's everybody just
They're just there.
playing Rocket League.
They're just there. This literally looks like me and a bunch of my buddies got together in a private match and played a 3v3 private match with absolutely no consequences whatsoever. That's what this reminds me of.
At the end of the series, we're going to find out. They're going to be like, wait, that wasn't the warm-up? They're like, that was the series? Wait a minute. And we're going to find out they're all playing on mouse and keyboard for the first time right now. Like, we're going to find out something wild at the end of this.
I'm very intrigued to see what the explanation for this is, because
we're going to find out each team is one person with one person controlling all three with one controller. Trizen gets a goal. That's the earliest goal we've had in a long time. That feels like a brand new goal.
I don't even know that was an intentional goal, to be fair, because
I think it was. I think he tried. I don't think he thought it was going to go in, but I think he tried.
I didn't think it was going to go in, because that looked like it was going to post and out. But somehow, the ball made it into the back of the net. Okay, maybe this will be the game that we can actually apply intelligent commentary to, because...
Fingers crossed.
Maybe this is the one.
I haven't used the phrase flip reset in 4 games. I need to say something intelligent. And okay, Dark, that was a good goal. That was a clean goal. Let's go. The Hilltoppers coming in good in game 4. Trizen with a great setup, and Dark with the double tap off the backboard. Coming in clean. That's up 2-0.
I wonder, I think the Titans are still stuck in that old mode, because like they just weren't there. They weren't, there was no defensive pressure at all. Like Trizen was able to set him up so easily. There was no pressure on the setup, and more importantly, there was no set pressure on the shot on net. There was a defender there, but that's exactly it. He was there.
Yeah, right. He was there, and again, I'm shocked that didn't go in, but Trizen was able to get in the way in time, block the ball away. So a minute and a half now going to be gone off the clock. 3.5 minutes between the Hilltoppers and defeating the defending champions.
Yep. And the fashion in which they have done so will go down in the history books as
absolutely
as a game.
This is a first. This is a first in a lot of ways. This is very interesting. This has been quite the series. And like you said, this is one to go down in the history books of the EGHF Rocket League. EGFH. My brain is fried. I'm so sorry.
The brain is... It is a good thing that this is the last game we're calling today, because I don't know. I honestly don't know if I could honestly get back into the seat after this game and be good.
You know, I thought I had a general understanding of Rocket League before this game. I thought I was doing a good job, right? But these players have gone to show me there are many things in Rocket League I do not understand. And the only thing I feel like we're missing is a Rule 1.
I played competitive Rocket League, and I don't know what's happening right now. So,
this has been something. This has been a great time. This has been a lot of fun. This has been very confusing. But now, 3 minutes on the clock, and the Hilltoppers, I mean, they are in a good position to win this. They really are. This has been a competent game, at least on their half of the field, and they are really coming through and making no way. Risky puts that in. Dark Risky throws it in to the goal once again. The Hilltoppers now up 3-0. That's 2 defenders on goal, and they just let him do that.
Yeah, Alien settled the ball for him, and Josh just kind of walked the ball in with him. He didn't go at the ball, he went like beside the ball. Okay. Yep. Great job by Summit. Great job by Summit.
I have to agree. Summit's doing very well, and Ruggy gonna dunk a 4th one away. It looks like there was an assist coming out from Trizen there. That's a bit of a confusing one. There was an actual defense, or an attempted defense there, but Dark with the demo just opened it wide up. Had that demo not been there actually would have been a defensive hold from the Titans, but Dark comes in from the shadows and just demolishes Alien there and secures a free goal again.
That is an example of a smart demolition. That's a good play. He takes the defender away, and the ball is thereby goes into the back of the net. Good demolition. Great. And I'm shocked that this is the series that comes in, but alas, here we are.
You know, as a wise man once said, it really do be like that sometimes, and it really do
really
today.
do.
This has been such a fascinating experience. I feel like this game alone should go on my resume as a caster. This has been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to cast a Rocket League game as unique as this one.
Yep. Yep.
Rocket League sure was played here today. That much I'm sure of. That much I am confident in saying. And watch. Like after this, the Hilltoppers are gonna clean house. They're gonna win the whole thing. And like, this was just like a warm-up game. Now 5-0. So this has officially become the most one-sided game we have seen all day.
Yeah, Ruggy with actually a really, really good goal there. Like, that was phenomenal. The way that he was able to take that ball up. I think he got a reset and then flipped it into the back of the net. That was the most competent goal that's been scored in this entire series.
Absolutely. No, that was a really good cleanup there. And now the Hilltoppers, it's funny, they're showing these opportunities like when they don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they come through and they're already up 4-0, and then they give us the best goal we've seen all series. So Hilltoppers really coming through with that flip reset. I finally said it. There we go. My brain is coming back. And now, the Hilltoppers, 15 seconds left. There's no way for the Titans to win. So the defending champions take it out in a quarterfinal.
Yeah, that's and in the fashion in which it happened, I would be losing sleep if I was on the Titans because normally you drop a series, it's like, oh damn, we lost. Gonna have to regroup and come back next time.
Right.
I don't honestly know how you can regroup and come back next time from this. I don't know, because again, nobody did anything wrong, but nobody did anything right.
I think that was the most interesting game ever because like we've said, these are two teams known for playing up to their opponent. When neither of them can play up to anybody, we're stuck in this weird gray area, this middle area of like people just playing Rocket League.
Yeah.
Wow, what a series. What a good way to end our day, McFallen. What a fascinating way for our casting time to come to a close, but not coming to a close quite yet. We're going to go and get to talk to somebody from the Hilltoppers, and I am very excited for this interview, so don't
questions.
go far. Not sure who it's going to be, but it's going to be Ruggy, actually. So we'll be right back in an interview with Ruggy in just a couple of minutes. What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to what could very well be the most interesting interview we've had in a long time with Rudgy, not Ruggy. Just found that out right now. So sorry about that, man. But my first question, an easy one: how are you? How do you feel? That was quite an interesting series.
So I honestly feel good. Like I was feeling a little bit iffy at the beginning of the series. Like I was like playing a little bit off, but then when I started like relaxing and when I pulled out the octane at the end in game 4, I felt pretty good. I was just having a good time with my friends.
Yeah, absolutely. So you and I talked about this during the break a little bit, and I want to bring this up. You recently had to play 3 best-of-5s against Mesquite. This is the team, folks, if you're still watching, this is the team that caused the Scarab incident. They are the team that beat Mesquite in a reverse sweep. So that is the #1 seed team, right? And I talked about this a lot, that you and the Titans both are teams notorious to play up to your opponent. So in the middle here, you guys are kind of on par with one another. So this was a very unusual series. You felt nobody got to play up. You were all on the same level. So what did you guys do to set yourselves apart to win these 3 games in a row?
So, against Mesquite, correct?
Right.
So,
incredible you did that to have this kind of clunker of a set follow up. So what made the difference there in that game?
So, for us, after we lost Series 1, we were a little, like, losing a bit of confidence. I was, like, talking to my team, like, we're fine. We have 2 other series, and this isn't even an important game, because we already made it to Nationals. Let's just try and play our best.
Right.
After we dropped the first 2 games in Series 2, and they brought out the Scarabs, you're like, listen, we are not going to lose the Scarabs. We are going to win this, and we're going to prove our statement of why we deserve to be first seed. So we take it 1 game at a time, and we're playing great, and we're, like, hyped up. After we score, everyone's just going crazy. And when we get to Series 3 and we lose the first game, we're like, it doesn't matter. We have 3 more to go. We can drop 2 more
GG, go
games.
next.
Yeah, and we won. And I was like, wow, I feel great. And we were just really astounded with that. And if we do see them in the finals again, which hopefully we do make the finals, but I'm feeling fairly confident about how we've been playing in general, it's going to be fun playing them again.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are a team to play up to par, and that was very clearly seen here, because when you went against a team that was similar to your skill level, it was much different than your normal play style. A very unique, one-of-a-kind series here today.
Right.
You can feel proud in knowing I played 2 years of competitive Rocket League in EGF in the collegiate scene, and I had absolutely no idea what was going on for like 90% of that game. It was such an odd, bizarre mix of. There was no, and we said this multiple times, there was really no like mistakes made, like nobody was playing poorly, but like also nothing was happening for like 90% of that set, and I was absolutely stumped. So congratulations on that, first of all. And all right, so you're moving on here. What's the mentality going forward now?
So our mentality is 1, to make sure we're having fun, and 2,
Of
generally
course.
our goal is just to win. We're going against whoever is the winner of Sour Limes and Blue Devils. They're both very good teams. And, I'm excited because if Blue Devils win, we haven't gotten to play them. So, that's going to be the first time we're going to see Jeffro. And, we've talked a little bit in the Discord. He seems like a really nice guy. And, like, generally, I'm just excited to play. Whatever happens, I'm just trying to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was going to ask that, so you've never played the Blue Devils before?
No, we have not.
That is quite interesting, because I no offense to the Sour Limes, but I think they do have a very good chance of winning that next round. The Sour Limes proved me wrong today, made things mixed up, so I'm curious to see. And of course, folks, if you take a look at the bottom of the bracket, you can see that Hilltop Gaming from Summit High School, your sister team, has also moved on due to a forfeit, actually. So there's a world where you knock your own team out of the bracket in grand finals.
Oh, that would be great. Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a quick question for you. I want to ask, you haven't won a grand final yet, but you've made it to the semifinals. What does this really mean for you guys as a team, kind of as an esports program?
Well, so generally it brings our confidence up, because first ever time doing it, we're playing some really good teams like Stallions, for example, and when we won the regional against them, like our confidence is very high, and we're feeling very good. We're able to, we know how they're gonna play. And because they're a very boost heavy team, they like going around and like taking their boost, and they like demoing us. So now that we're used to that and adjusted to that playing style, we're able to use that against the other teams we're playing against. And when we play them in the finals, we're gonna be ready to beat them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you guys gave us, like I said, if you watch the VOD back, you'll hear McFarlane and I at a loss for words quite a few times. It was very, like he said, you guys, at no point were we like, oh, these people are playing poorly. But at the same time, the one game, the only goals happened in the last 14 seconds of the game. So it was definitely a weird series. But thank you so much, Rudgy, for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. And I know that I'm personally very excited to see you in that next series as well.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Best of luck the rest of the way through, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And with that, folks, we're going to throw it to a super short break. McFarlane and I's time today does come to a close, so we are going to be handing it off to our very good friends, the Danger Taco and Vincent. So you are in very good hands, my friends. But thank you, everybody, so much for joining us. A huge congratulations to Hilltop once again. McFarlane, a pleasure as always. Huge shout out to Production Juke in the back line, making everything look as beautiful for you as it does now. Everybody, thank you again so much for watching. Check your posture, drink some water. Don't forget to love each other and enjoy the rest of the day. We'll see you later.
Welcome back, everybody, to the last stretch of games here for the quarterfinals of the 2021 EGF High School National Championships in collaboration with Walt Disney World and ESPN Wide World of Sports. My name is Danger Taco, and joining with me in the booth is Vincent. Vincent, we've seen a lot of great games earlier today and really throughout this whole week here for the National Championships, and I can't be any more excited to be sharing the booth with you to bring the latter stages of these quarterfinals.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some awesome games, to be entirely honest, and it's been super exciting into getting to watch and see all of those along with everybody here. And beyond that, like I said, it's gonna be a blast. I think we've got some good matchups here at the back end of the day as well. To start us out, it's the winners of Group 4. It's the Wilson Central High School Wildcats coming up against the North Mesquite Stallions, and I think that this. We were discussing just before we got on to broadcast that this is sort of almost a finals matchup in the quarterfinals in some ways, in that the this North Mesquite side especially, they've been very solid all the way through, and they kind of. It took a little bit of a weird loss earlier on, and it wasn't something that probably should have gone through, but it did, and there was an upset, and so here we are essentially.
Yeah, Wilson Central and North Mesquite actually did meet earlier within our regional championships. Fortunately, it was the Stallions who took that 3-0 victory. So a little bit of a comeback tour, a little bit of a revenge tour here for Wilson. But this is a great matchup, really, as all these quarterfinals are slated to be. And luckily for us, and luckily for all the viewers out there, we do have the players in the lobby. Game 1 is ready to up. We're trying to find out who's going to be moving on to these semifinals. And we will be kicking us off momentarily as all these players are geared up, because I think the main thing that we're looking for is that in these quarterfinals, teams are actually struggling a bit. And within actually the past games we saw, as we were looking at Hilltoppers in the past game, that there were games that felt a little clunky. It felt like these teams were so evenly matched that it really went down to the wire at times to see if games can be decided. So it's very interesting to have to see if we're going to be seeing a similar pattern here, or if we're going to have to maybe see one team emerge out in front and we'll have a bit of a back and forth pendulum swinging event. But we do have players on the field now. There's a little bit of latency there, but they're here. We're ready for game number 1. DPK following things up very well, and we'll start things off very early with a shot from Sean, though that one going wide, and it'll be clear out from North Mesquite.
Yeah, very nicely done there to start it out. I mean, you got the defense going, and once again, good defense there from Lichu to just put a solid statement there for the Stallions.
And we'll see right now, Wilson Central trying to set up camp in the half, but unfortunately, they're going to counter it, and Lichu goes for the redirect, not on target. Messick on the follow will tap that one a little bit high. No clear. Silly full the back post, and they're going to bury that one. And at a goal after 34 seconds, but for North Mesquite.
Yeah, and look at this one, just beautifully done off the backboard, and then straight into the waiting arms of the teammate sitting there. Everyone from the Wildcats just a little bit on their back foot, unable to recover just enough.
Oh, so now we'll see on the restart, a little bit of somewhat of a tee off there from Wilson. Didn't work quite to their favor, but ball will be going into the far corner. Mesquite deals with it well. Lichu is a player that actually, without regionals, very dangerous in the air. Certainly someone that North Mesquite is going to want to feed the ball. And at least now that they have their lead, they can be in a situation in which they can rely on that speed and mechanics to really focus more on defense. But I don't really think either of these teams is a team to really sit on their hands and enjoy a temporary lead. They want to build on it, or at least get back into it. DPK with the flip reset, but that's not going to find contact, and we'll see another clear go across mid.
And I love how aggressive we're seeing the Stallions be in the midfield right now. They're aggressing onto the ball. They're not scared of making a touch. They're not scared of making a bad touch in essence, and trying to get there. And I love that from the Stallions. At the moment, Wildcats just a little bit on the back foot, it seems.
Yeah, and these missed clears aren't helping either. Messick and Silly full, both go for it, but only one is required. 2-0 now from the corner read.
I mean, look at this brilliant aerial work there to actually finish the goal. Great follow through right there from Silly Full, and it's just putting the Stallions in even better position now, 2-0 in the opening matchup.
And this is a little bit tough. And as you mentioned, Wilson Central a little bit on their back foot. They've gotten close to the goal, but nothing to make North Mesquite sweat too much. And these longer balls are definitely keeping them alert as they're called into action quite a few times, though this rotation from North Mesquite will allow Wilson to try and counter out. Sean has a pass middle. TBF is there. They slot it on the open net. Lichu gets back, but not in time. And there's at least one back there for Wilson Central.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great attempt, right, to get back there in time, but it wasn't enough. And what a great finish there coming through, and to stop there on the wall as well. So controlled from the Wildcats. It's exactly what they needed to get right back into this game.
Let's see. 2 minutes down. It's been a very interesting opening minute, certainly as close as we might have expected. Lichu, Silly Full. And Silly Full, they've been in the mix for a lot of these chances for North Mesquite. They have been forcing the issue, certainly having Wilson to not really take them for granted on any single ball. They are a danger every time they go forward. I'm sure that making a statement for themselves in game number 1. They'll be slowed down on that one. Lichu will send it for him again. So we'll be back. Messick to the back post. He'll just glance somewhat innocently to the side, and TBF will be able to advance it back out, but longer clear, necessarily ideal for possession. Sean's gonna have to follow it up. A little bit of deflection. DPK on the follow. Dunk into the middle, though not too many teammates up, and Lichu will get another clear out to the sideline. So he settled into a little bit of a calmer period here within the mid-game, as both these teams are trying to find the next goal, either to extend the lead or bring us back level.
Yeah, indeed. Back and forth just a little bit. Individuals trying to make individual plays, and none of them working out just yet. And, well, some solid defense as well, I have to say, from both of these teams coming through. It's just been quality all the way, left, right, and center. But another nice interval. I mean, right there, we saw once again Sean just making a good play.
TBF is a nice angle, but not nice enough. Sean on the follow can't touch that one. DPK will only pinch it down. Now our eyes turn to Lichu. On the counter will be cut out by TBF. Silly Full, another roller across the backboard. Now Messick will take their chance at it, but it's a great pass instead to Lichu. Can't make contact. Silly Full will get dunked. We're going to keep on playing. 70 seconds remaining. Wilson still needs one to bring themselves level here in game number 1. But Mesquite looking so dangerous on every attack, and if not for just a little bit of miscalculation on the reads, we'll be looking at another lead forward for them. We're going to keep on playing 2-1 as we reach the final minute of game number 1.
Yeah, there was a good bump in the backside there by Wilson. Just everything. They're going forward. They're attempting all of the shots possible, but none on target just yet. And when they are, it's the defense of the Stallions that are simply too stalwart.
And unfortunately, that's just not going to be any contact. Messick understands they have time and takes it 3-1 here. North Mesquite just trying to close this match out as they've cruised to a potentially insurmountable lead here in the final 36.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Wildcats, they knew they had to play aggressive there. They knew they had to try something. And, well, try something they did. A great touch by the Stallions just allows them that additional goal.
Sean will clear that one to the side. At this point, I think Wilson is playing for a little bit of a silver lining on this game number 1. Though I would certainly not say they're out of it. I think North Mesquite had some fantastic opportunities, and clearly they took them. However, Wilson Central also had some chances going forward, just not as dangerous. North Mesquite handled it well, but that's what game number 1s are all about. It's about adjustment and also taking out your frustration, supposedly. A lot of demos. Lichu was just going left and right, got about 3 in a very short span. A very aggressive way to end things, but I don't think the Stallions know any other play style. North Mesquite 3-1 to take game number 1.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, some mistakes early on there from the Wilson Central side of the board, and it was unfortunate. But on top of that, you had those mistakes that allowed a couple of goals. But once things got a little bit further down, it was very clear that the Wildcats made a comeback. They made an adjustment. They definitely did a good job of really just stepping up and really becoming a whole lot better at holding the line and not allowing any sort of easy touches to go through. It was only there in the last about 30 or so seconds that changed, and that was off the back of a desperation play is really what it was. I mean, they had all three players fully committed, not to mention a brilliant touch there defensively to get the ball straight over the head of, I don't even know who it was who was looking for the touch, but just was on their back heels and were not able to follow up.
And we'll have to see if Wilson has a little bit of a comeback here within the series as they're falling behind in game number 1. But honestly, game number 1's not always the best predictive validity for how a series is going to go, especially this far down with this much talent. We almost saw the immediate turnaround from DPK, though that one's going to rattle off the post. Maybe they'll get a second look at it. This time only a pass across. Lichu switching to the Batmobile will be able to get that clear and the touch, though. Sean keeping it short. Good shot off the side. TBF off the sidewall. DPK with another tap. It's just going to go wide, and Silly Full will be able to take this one out with a flick up to Messick. And the immediate counterattack almost rewarded, but that one only going to roll to the sideline.
I mean, what a great touch that was by Messick. It just barely doesn't go where he wanted it to be, but still really strong coming through here in the early stages from both sides. And another one that goes just wide, but that one's not. It's Lichu. Who else but Lichu to pick it up?
And it shows how dangerous that these players are. Silly Full went across on an air dribble, and the player for Wilson really just jumped to get a block. They weren't really going for a clear. Unfortunately, results in a touch just sitting in front of net. And when North Mesquite has thrown it over the goal, or really near the goal, they have a player fouling very well. TBF almost fouling for Wilson on the immediate response, though. Fortunately, they will. Fields flip away. We're going to keep on playing, but a strong opening minute yet again from North Mesquite. Now it's just a matter of can they hold it.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be the question, but the Wildcats have gotten better and better over the course of this series, over the course of game 1 at their offense, and it has been impressive. I think it's just a matter of time now for the Wildcats to get on this board here in game 2.
And they're going to need nice saves like that. TBF reading the hit toward goal. Deflection across will result in Lichu and Messick both committing and dunking each other in a way, though DPK turns around on this one. They don't have the read. Messick, another tap forward. High bounce. Silly Full. They're on the end of it and over the bar, though. And Lichu will demo defender, but not get a touch. Roll out yet again. Wilson really being hemmed down in their half, trying to get some semblance of possession. So difficult, though. North Mesquite so fast, but they need to make contact as well. DPK passes across. Messick touches it right to TBF, and they crash the net 1-1.
Oh, man, I was like, if DPK doesn't find a way to bring this through, it would be a devastating loss, but nice follow-up by TBF to put it into the net and show that the Wildcats ain't out of this one yet.
Absolutely not. 1-1 here just before 2 minutes elapsed. And North Mesquite showing a little bit of over-eagerness, and I think that's actually the line that teams like North Mesquite really have to be mindful of. It's so important to be aggressive and be fast, but sometimes you get ahead of yourself, and a play like that where Lichu goes so aggressive as last man, then just gets tapped underneath. That's what opens up the goal, and their only goal last game was due to a double commit, and neither player touched it, and it was just an open shot, so they have to be very mindful of that. At the same time, Wilson, of course, having themselves, keeping in mind how dangerous North Mesquite can be. Both teams, though, showing their fangs, and it's lovely to see as we see a double commit. Silly Full, a tap over, it's an open net. Sean, the last defender, is the hero and will get the clear. Wilson Central wiping some sweat off their brow, and they will be back for another clear.
Yeah, some dangerous attempts right there from Wilson, but they do get back just in time. And like you said, Sean making plays where necessary is exactly what has been needed and what continues to happen for this Wildcat offense.
We'll see Silly Full with an attempt of a pinch. They don't get it. TBF shot across. Might have been a pass. We don't know. It was an open net. They might have just trying to throw themselves at it. Long roller on the counter will be saved by TBF, and a temporary clear up. DPK with the foul. They don't get it. Silly Full. They're going to bury the open net. You can't be giving a player like that an open shot.
Oh, man, this is just such an unfortunate miss as well. I mean, we saw it right there on the replay, right? Coming across, that just probably should have been a touch by, I think it was Sean who came through, but it was just a little bit off. And it was DPK who came through. It was just a bit off. And unfortunately, it's that small little allowance that allows for the Stallions to get their lead back.
Only one goal in it, so certainly nothing to hang your head over. 90 seconds. See if Wilson Central can come back in this one. Challenges like that, a decent way, though no contact. Sean on the follow. Chip one for TBF. They just can't get the angle. DPK facing down a little bit of a counterattack from Messick. They do well on the bump. They're going to be able to follow this one. Only a deflection. Full. A little bit of a musty tap forward. They're not going to get much power on this. So on the counter, TBF over the top. It's straight down from the corner. TBF going for a bump. Doesn't get it. DPK on the shot. And Silly Full gets a bumper on. Messick not playing around. They're just going to send that one deep. Lishu and Silly Full both up. That's what I'm talking about. The confidence in North Mesquite can be so tempting to go forward, but I wonder if it's going to hurt them on defense. TBF, though, not able to punish, and we're going to go back to the orange corner.
Yeah, I mean, he said he's going to punish them on defense. Well, not really, not yet at least. And I mean, the one time was over a double commit, but sure, it's been since then. The Stallions have been quite stalwart in their defense and pretty fast to actually come back. They don't want to give this away. They know they have the lead. All they've got to do is not allow a score.
The TBF try to play for 50, but they are the one who's 50'd. Lichu going for a flick. They will not get it. Sean extends the play. DPK, they're up for it. It's off the backboard. That's a miss from Silly Full. Sean on the follow. Straight into two defenders. Silly Full now on the counter. Messick trying to wrap this one up, but ultimately it's just clock management. Time will hit 0, and the ball will bounce. North Mesquite moving on to match point.
And that's just it. I mean, clock management, you said it yourself. Sometimes all you got to do is not make mistakes. All you got to do is not allow your opponent to score. And it was one mistake, one missed clear from the Wildcats that allowed for the second goal. And North Mesquite took it all the way to the bank and cashed it in.
And I'm really curious to see what the coaching session, or really, to be honest, what the coach is saying, what the players are saying to each other for Wilson, in that I think they just need to take a deep breath, maybe get a glass of water, stand up and stretch or something. Maybe they seem very uptight. I know there's a lot of pressure on them with this being nationals, though a couple times they've had a chance for a counterattack and they just throw it a little too quick, or they have a chance for an open shot and instead of going for the placement, they go for the power. And moments like this, I think, when it can be a little bit difficult, because you start to see Wilson Central get into a chance where North Mesquite overcommits and then the punish doesn't come in and then North Mesquite comes right back down and they're the ones that punish, almost like the counter to the counter. It's very tough for Wilson because they're right in it. These are not blowout games. It's really just slowly North Mesquite is chiseling away at the Wilson Central defense, and they are able to get some goals, and that's really all they need, just a slight lead, and then they just carry that momentum forward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it hasn't been a blowout. There's not been a blowout yet. You're in game 1 or game 2. It's been, like you said, a small mistake happening, right? And the Stallions are so keen. They're able to pick that small mistake up and take advantage of it to the greatest degree possible, and that only puts us into a position, right, where the Wildcats, their backs are up against the wall. This is now match point of the series, and it's only one game away from victory, and oh no, what has happened there? It looked like there was 2 defenders available. I don't know if they didn't have boosts or what, but Sean just walks it straight in off the aerial.
And this is actually a doubly interesting thing, because something that Stallions are also known for is what Leach is doing right now, has switched the Scarab for match point, showing that confidence, going to the definitive meme car of Rocket League. And at least right now, it's not going to start off super well for them. They will give up an early lead. They might get it right back, though. Sean, goal scorer for Wilson, not willing to be the one to give that up. TBF clearing their lines, and Richard Messick back to temporarily hold things up, but DPK will send it right back again, and with a great bounce, might be able to follow it. A pinch clear all the way down. That's going to be just wide, but TBF is going to be required for the clear, and they will get it. One more tap from Messick forward, though. That one will be cleared again and will go to the corner. So very frantic opening minute, but Wilson at least temporarily enjoying their lead.
Yeah, a bit fortunate there for the Wildcats that wasn't on target. The pinch clear was nearly on point, and that would have surely been a goal. Nobody back there in time, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, they get away with one. And the Stallions, well, I mean, yeah, they might be maybe just a little bit, but they're down one already, and a minute already off the clock. Like, I don't know. Maybe they got a little too confident a little too early.
Lichu going for the double. They don't have it. Silly Full doesn't have the follow either. Now on the counter, DPK trying to take it across. Good stand-up defending from Messick. Across the way, DPK chasing things down. At least bumped Silly Full out of the play. We'll just see another roller. Dunk down, Lichu. Off corner, can't get the read. Sean will beat them to it. With Mesquite going for a very aggressive style, just pushing it forward, going for these awkward reads off backboard, and it does generate a double commit, though. Sean has plenty of space, and they will take it. Good catch, one-on-one, but it gets away from him, and Lichu gets another save to the side. We keep on playing, as North Mesquite will throw it down, but Zombie Man sends it right back out.
Such good touches there from the Wildcats. Unfortunately, not able to take advantage despite that double commit. And even then, we've seen the offense here from the Wilson side just be absolutely different from anything we've seen before. They've been consistently able to clear, consistently able to pull it over to the Stallions side of the pitch, and it's been huge. We've seen the difference, and they've held the lead because of it.
We'll see DPK not only hold the lead with another clear, but attempt to add to it, though the flick on from the teammate not present. A little bit of a 2v1 here as Messick has Silly Full up and attack, but TBF will stand their ground. Get a good touch. Now on the counter, DPK going for double tap. They only hold it in place. Sean will get across. Silly Full is beaten. So is Lichu. It's open on the near post. Messick racing back, but they have no chance at that one. Sean tucking into the back post, and the first 2-goal lead here for Wilson Central.
I mean, Sean essentially just gave this himself an assist right here. Like, oh, what great aggression to allow for, I mean, number one, for Sean to make that play, but I love the corner pinch into what is basically an open net, and, you know, the two players coming from both different angles makes it impossible to read.
And it's so tough, and that's somewhat of the point I was trying to make earlier, is that North Mesquite so fast to the ball, but you saw two players near it and immediately challenge, which is good to immediately challenge, but sometimes when you're playing fast, it's hard to calm that, and a little bit of confusion, double commit opening up, you know, another chance for Wilson, and that's the way they got their way back into this game, and more importantly, back in this series. Holding on for another minute 45 will get them a win, bring them at least a little bit closer to coming back, and they might even add to it. The TBF, the contact they're hoping for, and a little bump in midfield. You have North Mesquite another clear, but Wilson Central certainly the strongest they've looked by far in the series.
Yeah, and we were memeing about the Scarab and everything, but like that's got nothing to do with it. It's just been some mistakes coming through from the Stallions, where they've looked just unstoppable thus far in the series. It's been a bit of miscommunication, like you say, and unfortunately for them, that's netted a 2-goal lead here for the Wildcats.
And the adjustment stage, I'm wondering, I'm not sure how much you can really do during a game, especially when Wilson's playing so confident as DPK tries what Silly Full did in game number 1. Will dish from the backboard, and they won't score that one, but Messick will score the immediate counter. Nice little passing play when we're back to 2-1.
Yeah, nicely done. Good pass as well, like you were talking about. DBF was there, but just not quite there enough, and it makes you ask the question, okay, now, I mean, this ain't over yet. There's 54 seconds on the clock, and the Stallions, all they got to do is score one to send us to overtime.
And we'll be seeing if they have it in them. At least going to get somewhat of a look, though. Sean, not taking any chances. We'll just clap that one long. Messick, great read. EBF, huge deflection to the back post. All of Wilson retreats. They're getting boost in. He set in their rotations, then aggress further. I think they understand how fortunate they are to have the lead they do have. So with 30 seconds remaining, it's now on them to see how well they can tick down this clock. Sean will try another hand at it. No touch. TBF, another one into the corner. Get a second tap at it. It's a pass out to DPK. It's on target. Generates a double commit. A little bit of deflection. A lot of time this is spending in the North Mesquite half. Really only have a chance or two before this game is over, but TBF wants to put this one to bed. There's number 3, the 2-goal lead restored. With 5 seconds left, Wilson Central seems to have game 3 on wrap.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, you were talking about them playing defensively, and that's not what you were saying, but I guess Wilson, they were like, listen, the best defense is a good offense. We're just going to press the W key and make sure that we are in their back line, not allowing anything at all, and there it is, time taken away as soon as it touches the pitch, and it's Wilson Central to take game number 3 and deny the repeat 3-0 that North Mesquite had last time that these two met at the semifinals and regionals. Not going to happen. And, well, maybe the possibility for Wilson to pull off a reverse sweep, that would be the beginning of one.
Yeah, and this is the great way to start it, because not only are you capitalizing on everything that you were not earlier in the series, but you're playing pretty great defense. You're getting a little bit more saves, so you're still under a lot of pressure from North Mesquite, but the shots are very even. More importantly, you're putting them away. Like that third goal, even though you could kind of argue, well, North Mesquite didn't have a second, so it's kind of just icing on top of a game you already won. It's nice to see that a lob ball like that, not an easy angle, is still buried, put away. That finishing will give them confidence going forward. And that's exactly what you need when you're playing against a team like North Mesquite, who plays with almost nothing but confidence. That's their strongest weapon. They're just going for everything, and it works out for them. So if Wilson Central can play like that, continuing on, they certainly have a chance. But a tall order to reverse a team, really any team here in the Nationals. We'll have to see if Wilson Central has that in them, as we'll kick off game number 4 and for their second straight win.
Yeah, well, the thing it'll have to be continued aggression, continued offensive prowess from the Wildcats to put themselves in position to complete this reverse sweep. And, well, that's been what we've been seeing from them thus far in that prior game. And, I mean, it's been solid.
And they're working off the backboard. Messick takes too much time, and they will get punished. Sean puts this one away. Thought Messick might have been a little bit too cute on that one, but great job on Sean to crash. And we're going to see an early goal for Wilson Central. 26 ticks gone.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's just basic offense. Step to the ball. Never let your opponent take the time they want. And, well, like you say, maybe getting a little too cute with it, I don't know. But whatever it was, it allows Sean to make the big play.
Now Sean's going to have to make a big play on defense. The dunk on midfield goes just wide. Silly Full doesn't get that contact, so we'll have to retreat on this. Bumps from Lichu will open it up a little bit for Silly Full. They'll throw that one to the sideline. Another hit to the backboard. They have a double tap. They do, but not on target. Lichu's follow denied. Messick on the third, and that is the charm. 1-1 after just about a minute.
Now, like you say, they do say the third time's the charm, and it did take 3 attempts, but finally, there wasn't anyone back to defend, and that was just solid offense from the Stallions. I don't even think the Wildcats made a big mistake there. They ran out of players. They ran out of players to rotate in front.
And it's a lot to make a save, but it's why you have to be so careful about where that ball is placed as you make that save. This one going to go to the corner. So DK and TBF coming up, and unfortunately they're going to leave that ball going for the boost steal. Not a bad strategy, though. Not able to advance it forward. Sean racing back. Lichu on the air dribble. They have one touch, not a second. Silly Full on the follow, but only TBF for Wilson. Going to be back for this one. We'll keep on playing as this ball is really just pinballing around. It has not slowed down for 1 second. All these teams just playing to absolute breakneck pace so far in the opening 90 seconds of Game 4.
Yeah, and that's what it's been, right? Like, we've seen some backs and forths, but, the Wildcats kind of coming out with high aggression there in Game 3. Prior to that, it was the Stallions who were the over-aggressive team, and now it's both of these teams just playing with a pace that is unstoppable, it seems.
And same with that shot. The only thing that can get in the way is the frame of the goal. On the following attempt, DPK across, Messick. It's certainly a temporary clear, as they will buy a little bit of time. Leach is going to have to try to advance that one up. Sean will let that one go so DPK can collect off the sidewall. Pass themselves. They have the reset. They use it, unfortunately. They will not be able to get any contact. Another clear by Lichu down will result in a Sean tap to the side. Right at halftime, still 1-1. And really, I think this is the longest time we've seen a 1-1 hold within these games. Normally, they're broken fairly quickly, but right now it's really down to the point where who can force a mistake out of the defense first, as it seems like both teams taking their chances, though it doesn't seem like we're any closer to finding that go-ahead goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's just looking for mistakes, trying to force an error, if you will, and no errors to be found, not just yet, or at least none that have been able to be taken advantage of. And, well, maybe now, nearly a shot on target there by Messick, but it will be cleared away. That was a dangerous one.
And it was 2 players retreating back, no one able to turn. Messick as the Supersonic Legend Tournament winner tag, and shows why they earned that. Almost putting that one right on target, though. Fortunately, off the bar yet again. And North Mesquite, they've gotten very close, but the frame of the goal is a bit too small for their efforts, so they'll have to keep on searching. Wilson Central, I wouldn't say has had as much success, only one shot recorded, and really that's all the one they needed. At this point, I'm just looking for them to keep some semblance of possession on offense. Seems like they keep kind of retreat out, making sure their defensive structure is there, which is important, but I think it is at the cost of consistent movement upfield. Really just going to these sideline taps and back into midfield. Silly Foal and company doing a great job to cut that one out. I wonder how sustainable this is for Wilson, as gonna have to deal with another air dribble there, but clear out will put him onto offense once more, but it's just gonna get sent right on back.
I mean, Wilson have been just looking for the perfect pinch, it seems, and that's just not come across yet, realistically. And the hard part about that is that's not the most sustainable form of offense ever. Not to mention the fact that the Stallions have been quite good at denying that particular area.
Silly Foal will try set up one more. Lichu gets a shot, but it's not the strongest. Silly Foal on the crash. That's going to go wide. The accuracy they were hoping for, but Wilson will breathe a sigh of relief, albeit temporarily, because it's going to come right back with Messick. That's a sitter for Lichu. It's going to be over the bar. Silly Foal. They're lurking for the shot, though. It will be deflected over the bar yet again. Sean, no touch on this one, so Lichu will roll it again. 20 seconds remaining. We might be looking at an overtime to tear these two teams apart. Can Wilson Central come out on top here, force a game number 5? Or does North Mesquite have something up their sleeves? Maybe in the final 10 seconds, though. Silly Foal, no contact. Lichu on the turn, a little bit of deflection. DPK, open dribble. They go for the air dribble. It's past one. It's gonna bounce just short, and we will be going to overtime, if not for a couple pixels distance.
Oh man, add one more second to the clock, and that is a Wildcat victory, but no, not gonna happen. Wow, the closest of this game. Now it's sudden death, and oh man, it seems that anyone could take it at any moment here at Day Chicago.
Sudden death for this game, but also potentially for the Wildcats. Whole series match point for North Mesquite. Trying to force a game 5 is Wilson. They'll have at least one more chance to go for it. Sean with a dunk. It's a sitter. TBF gets blocked by Messick. Great retreating defense. TBK up for that one, but no contact. TBF, it's on target. Silly Foal, they can't get it. Messick does a goal line save, and we're going to keep on playing.
Oh man, it seems that everything just a little bit too far off here for the Wildcats as they try as they might, unable to convert. And Stallions, they do hold, but they've been struggling here on the defense the entire last minute of regulation, and now they're still struggling in overtime.
And it's been North Mesquite has been denied by the crossbar. This time it's Sean on Wilson Central. They keep on playing, but Wilson Central has had a majority of the offensive pressure. They're going to keep on going, though that shot, not ideal. Going to go right into Silly Foal. TBF will cut in front, clear another one down, and North Mesquite defense in, I wouldn't say disarray, but they don't seem comfortable, especially with demos coming through. Lichu, it's a roller, but they'll get a dunk. It'll go all the way down. It'll leave a lot of pressure for them, which is fortunate. So they'll have their first chance on offense. Silly Foal with the pass, but again over the bar. Pass in the middle, DPK. They get bumped, and Lichu on the counter will seal the series for North Mesquite.
Oh, man. Look at that touch. Oh, what a great touch in the bump as well from Masick. Oh, it's just so beautiful. And the Stallions, they take it, but oh my goodness, how close can you get? A minute into overtime, and I feel like that the Wildcats, I feel like they could have had that just barely in regulation. Did they not have enough time to complete that goal? It was a wide open net. It was guaranteed. But Wilson Central fall and North Mesquite take their victory home.
And that's really just speaks to so much about how little space you have sometimes to get off your shot and make sure that you can put those chances away. Right at the end, Sean in overtime had a sitter, but then also DPK on the air dribble right at the end of regulation. I mean, this game is a game of pixels, just like sports are games of inches at times, where you're just so close, but one or two things doesn't go the way you need, and that's the way you fall. But North Mesquite not only showing that they have the capacity to bust out to a nice lead and hold it throughout a game, but show that resilience when they are under fire, when a team is on the comeback trail, to shut that one down, get goal line saves, remain steady, and then take the chance when it arises, and it's a well-deserved win from them.
Oh, I mean, it's incredibly well deserved. The 3-1. I mean, listen, it could have been, honestly, it could have been 3-1 the other direction. That's how close this series was. It was not a one-sided affair by any means. And that final game, what a way to end it! An overtime slugfest at the 1-1 scoreline, ultimately going the way of the North Mesquite Stallions. And well, with that, I do think we are going to have an interview with the North Mesquite Stallions, but we're going to go on to a short little break before we get there, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a few.
Welcome back to some more 2021 EGF High School National Championships, and we had just witnessed North Mesquite take down Wilson Central on stream 3-1. We were here with one of the leading men of that game, Lichu from North Mesquite. Lichu, how you feeling after that admittedly more shaky series down the stretch?
I mean, I'm feeling really nervous right now. The competitors, very close friends of mine. I absolutely love them. So definitely like really nervous, but much love to them. They played an amazing series, much better than I think I've ever seen them play before. And yeah, shout out to them. They gave us a very, very tough time. Honestly, didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And
I was
but
gonna
like
say, so whenever you're coming through with the game 1, game 2, you guys take the victories. Then game 3 comes around, and I mean, it just looked like a different Wildcat side. What was the mindset there after game 3 in the team comms? Were you guys like, okay, they've come out to play?
Usually when we're down a game or we lose, I always try to hype up the team by usually my mental going into games is GG go next, we win, easy clap, this is gonna be the easiest game of our lives, right? Because my role on my team is to be the toxic ego guy that brings up the team because I'm the funny one, right? So like being toxic is making my teammates laugh, right? It's making them laugh, and that brings up team spirit. So I just think that our mental is always the same going through every game, no matter what.
Yeah,
I think
one
that's
thing
what it
I'm
is.
curious about for your guys is that you're speaking on the realm of both like psychologically helping your team, but also like psychological warfare in your opponents. The one thing I have to ask about, because you're one of the most consistent with this, you get on match point, things are tense, you're trying to close the series, and you bust out the Scarab. Is that a definitive choice to really flex on your opponents, or is that just something that you're memeing and it's a fun thing to bring out?
I mean, my team didn't want to do it. I brought it out. I think I did pretty well personally with it, but that was just a game where I guess my eyes were closed and my monitor was off. But definitely the Scarab has been a tradition for me to bring out if we're 2-0 in the series. It's always just a tradition. I love doing it because the Scarab is one of my favorite cars in the entire game because it's a meme. So I usually use it just as a meme. And kind of to disrespect the other team too, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you, I agree. I don't think it really made a big difference, or you played bad with it in the game that you were with it. But it was still a statement, and it seemed like it made a difference, at least in the minds of your opponents. But then you guys come out, the final game, it's a nail biter. I mean, 1-1, tied for so long. I want to say it was upwards of 3 minutes. I'm not 100% sure. It was a long time, though. And nearly gets scored on there at the very last second of regulation. I mean, plus 1 second on the clock, that's a goal, and then it's game number 5. What was the comms like? What were y'all thinking whenever that happens and you guys have to go straight into an overtime period?
It was definitely a sigh of relief. My teammate Sillyfold definitely made the right call of letting it drop instead of trying to save it, because if you tried to save it, that could easily be an own goal right there. But it was a big sigh of relief from that, and mental going into overtime is, let's just finish this off. We got to win this. This should be an easy closeout.
And when we're looking at these matches down the stretch, you guys obviously had won that game. You're on to the semifinals. You're playing one of the 2 Summit High School teams, actually. And are you looking forward to that game? Are you guys confident going in? I can tell you guys are a very confident team by the way you're playing. It really speaks by the way you move around the field. Though, is this a bracket where you're looking out for a single team, or do you guys feel as though this is your tournament to lose?
Main team we're looking out for is the A team of Summit, right? Because we haven't won against them as like a whole entire series yet, because the last time we faced them in the group stage, we absolutely choked. So I think that's the one team we're trying to beat here, and the next one we're coming up against, I think, is their B team, which obviously their B team shouldn't be as good as their A team, so that should just be an easy sweep. But definitely their A team. Definitely want to face them and finally want to get our revenge there.
Well, you're speaking a good game, but your play backs it up. Great job today. Congrats on the win, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See ya. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And have a good rest of your day. And with that, we'll throw you guys back to a brief break. It was nice to pick the brain of Leachu, but we're going to move on to our final match of today here. 4 quarterfinals. We'll have Huntington High School against Pennsauken. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more 2021 EGF High School National Championships. Welcome back, everybody, for the last match of our quarterfinals day here for the 2021 EGF High School National Championship, again in collaboration with Walt Disney World and ESPN Wide World of Sports. And boy, do we got a doozy for our last one. We got Huntington High School and Pennsauken, two teams that have obviously battled through their groups, gotten to this point, but Huntington have a lot of eyes on them. They were one of the regional champions here, and they're going to see if they can get even further. Next match for this one, when we look at the bracket, will determine who plays the Hilltoppers. If Huntington goes on, that'll be actually a matchup of the two regional champions from Region 1 and Region 2. And Pennsauken coming from that round 1 play-in here, trying to, I would guess, stage an upset, but really at this point, Vincent, these teams just so evenly matched, and the skill ceiling really just crazy high.
I mean, yeah, that's the hard part, right? The skill ceiling is incredible for these teams, and it's hard to say, like you can say on paper who is favored, who is not, and all that kind of stuff. But until you get in the server, I think it's really hard to tell. Just comparing side by side, I find it difficult. When you're not watching a head to head, because it really comes down to pace of play, and when the pace of play gets so high or so low, like in comparison to other teams, it's like I was saying, it's tough to tell. So with that, I mean, the Blue Devils, like you say, you'd have to bring them in here as the favorites, but I don't think that means that we're going to see Pennsauken just fall over. I mean, they're here to win. They're here to play, and they're here to take the victory if possible. And I'm hoping that we're going to see a close series. We just got done seeing an incredibly close series that at the end of the day, we got to call a 3-1 that was incredible.
Yeah, and it shows that although it didn't go the distance, very well could have. We were pixels away from that. To see if maybe a similar tale awaits us. Game 1 of Huntington and Pennsauken underway. We're going to see Pennsauken trying to really tap things down in the midfield. The player I'm looking out for the side of Huntington is Jeffro. That was an EGFH all-star, and he's almost shown why he deserves that title. A great pass, but unfortunately first chance of the game for Huntington, getting it turned away.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a player to look out for. I would agree with you. And on top of everything, I mean, listen, Sour Lions, they're doing a good job here early on, playing, getting the touches where necessary, playing defensively when they need to, and I love what we're seeing here in the starting.
And they're under a lot of pressure. Pennsauken dealing with it fairly well, though Dozy not able to get that touch commit. Actually, a little bit of miss as well, so taps a little bit of nerves coming out here from Pennsauken. A couple misses in the beginning, though. A chance to amend for it on offense. Commit across the middle. Jeffro with a clear. It's going to set up for Unable Lime. They'll actually turn away. They didn't get the boost. Jeffro with a flick attempt, though. They're not able to get that contact either. Gonna have to go to Polar Bear. It's going to tuck it on the open net, but Commit last second will be able to get a save, and we will play on scoreless.
Yeah, I mean, big saves coming out here from Pennsauken. The Sour Lions just coming through time after time defensively, and there it is again with Unable Lime doing everything to keep the team in this scoreless game. And, well, if it takes its defensive plays, and that's what it takes. And right now, Pennsauken are doing just that.
Unable Lime will temporarily tap it across. Polar Bear over the top. No one on the backboard. Zyko goes up, no touch. Jeffro to the back post, and that'll be another one to the corner instead. Polar Bear's trying to keep it alive and will, but Dozy is back in time and will be able to get another clear out. So the opening 2 minutes have been fairly favorable for Huntington. No results yet, but that could really change at any time. Not going for this one, then Jeffro sets himself up on the backboard. Unable Lime will deny, and Zyko will tap it again. There's good offensive rotations from Huntington. Pennsauken holding firm, though. That wall of a defense in the back doing its job.
Exactly, but you can only play defense for so long. You have to, at some point, find an opening to start attacking. As goals win games. Defense does not. And, well, for the time being, Pennsauken have really just had, a split-second opportunity here and there to get onto that aggressive look. I mean, that's a great example of it. Clears that are not particularly going to any specific area, just clearing to the opposite side of the pitch.
And we'll see a little bit of a turn away again from Dozy, who will get another follow-up. Jeffro. High tap. Polar Bear goes for the double tap. No touch. Jeffro, another ball just a little bit wide. And really, accuracy is the thing really haunting Huntington here. Getting the ball near the goal, but not necessarily on target. still getting credited with 6 shots here to our first half. So I agree that these goals are desperately needed from both sides. And right now, Huntington certainly in the mix for it, though. Have to try maybe a little bit of variety. Eventually going to see some more passing, or maybe the demo meta really rear its head to get these teams ahead. But at least for right now, I'm going to keep going back to the chopping block and to see if Pennsauken is going to be emerging with anything particular on offense. At least there, Dozy shot on target will be turned away, but going to go right back out to midfield with Polar Bear on the dribble.
And we just passed the 90-second mark on the clock, and that does mean that somebody's going to need to score here at some point in order to pull us in. It could be going to overtime at 0-0. That would be an incredible turnaround, but the defense here from Pennsauken has just been suffocating, to be honest. But yeah, you have to shoot goals on target, but beyond that, if you shoot on target, there's just a defender in the way. There's not a lot you can do about it.
Yeah, though, we'll have to be careful, Pennsauken, as they will be giving up certain opportunities. That one deflected, potentially open, though Jeff were not able to wrap around that one. Unable. Longer cleared down as reaching 45 seconds remaining at this point. In somewhat of a silver goal territory. Some whips on defense, not matched on offense. Dozy will keep it alive once more to the corner. Polar Bear tap down. 50 by Dozy will result in another 50. High lob, unable Lime and commit both go. The pinch across. Buying a little time, though, on the counter. Polar Bear try to advance things up. Zyko off the bounce. Doesn't get the flick. Another clear by Dozy. Might be looking at overtime to tear these two teams apart here in game number 1.
It's starting to look like it now with 15 seconds on the clock. Some opportunities, but another massive save. Finally, it's the goal. Unable to line themselves. And look at this. I mean, look at the commitment here from both sides. I mean, it's basically all the players but one inside the net of Huntington to finally give Pennsauken a lead.
I'm curious what happened there. Zyko was on the goal line almost waiting for the ball to come down, and then it does, but it's like he wasn't ready. Was he too patient? Trying to catch it, just immediately gets dunked. Despite facing almost all the pressure, certainly defense doesn't win games, but it keeps them in it, and they're going to get one to go. Pennsauken taking game number 1.
Hey, listen, I mean, I told you that we don't know. We don't know for sure until the teams get in the server and they start rolling, Tago, and that seems to be what we are seeing live on our screens. Pennsauken, I mean, all it takes is a 1-goal lead, and they take game number 1. And, I mean, beyond that, right? Like, this was a matchup where we were discussing, we're like, yeah, I mean, this is probably a Blue Devils, you know, having the advantage, or at least in general being the higher seed in this matchup. But, well, I mean, I guess it don't matter if you can't put goals on target. Well, a lot of attempts, but none successful here for the Huntington High School Blue Devils.
Yeah, Huntington, I think it's kind of weird when you look at that game number 1 statistically, because those shots are very even, though I think the pressure was primarily with Huntington, though it wasn't on target, so the shots aren't registering. It's just off the backboard, it's wide to the corner, but the hits toward goal, or at least onto that backboard, were certainly with Huntington. They had the momentum, just not that finishing touch, and it shows that at the end of the day, it's about execution, and Pennsauken certainly getting those goals to go. Crash the net for the game 1 winner, and we're on to game number 2 to see if they can pull that out yet again. They're going to start with something a little more stylish off the ceiling, but Commit doesn't get it, and Polar Bear will catch and go for a flick out, but will only face a dunk for Jeffro to tap into the corner.
Yeah, Commit trying to get fancy with it, not quite able to connect, and what that means is that it does allow for an opening, but like you say, just unable to get those on target. Polar Bear again off target with that shot, and it you know, leads to question marks for the Blue Devils, and ultimately Pennsauken with their game lead now, they are the ones to define this game moving forward.
It will tap another one on goal. Zygo tried to connect with a teammate there, though unable to get that one on target. A little bit of an open shot, but Dozy in no man's land. They can't get this. Clear goes past. Commit. That's not a clear that they're looking for. Polar Bear trying to tap it across, but unable Lime. We'll get a clear in a little bit of space on the dribble with a 50. That's deflected near goal. Zyko takes no chance, and we'll tap that one again. Commit will send that high up. Dozy crashing in the air. Oh, no pressure, and Pennsauken looking very confident here to start game number 2, especially with shots and follows like that. Unable Lime puts Pennsauken in the lead.
Yeah, and I feel like Unable Live is just doing this all on his own here. Right? Like, nice touch off the sidebar and then straight into his own hands and into the back of the net, making it that 1-0 lead once again. But this time, it's 3 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock. The offense up in Socken is heating up. It's been heating up the entire game, and now in game number 2, they seem to be the ones in control.
And now their defense is to hold for the rest of the 3.5 minutes, which is no small feat, especially with the way Huntington is throwing people forward. Zyko top angle shows why, not able to go on target, will deflect across, so Dozy only one on this one. Play out for commit. Going for potentially a double tap. I don't know if they have the boost, doesn't matter. For a bit too quick and Enable Lime. Let another one down, long clear, gives up possession again for Dozy. Just clap that one down into Polar Bear's bumper. A little bit of slow play as Huntington is trying to figure out their way back into this game. Still have not scored a goal here through about 7 minutes of play, and I'm not really sure what it's going to take. I think they just need to get back to really throwing that ball deep, or maybe look for some passes. This one bounces down, but Dozy the quickest one to it again. And Huntington's going to have to keep on searching.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, you said, well, they got to hold Dupe and Socken for, 3 minutes and 40 seconds? They've already done that, remember. They've done it before. They did that there in game 1, and it looked easy for them. So, I mean, I don't doubt that it's a possibility that this is potentially ending in another 1-0.
Well, we'll have to see if that story does hold. Passing plays from Pensocken, certainly in the mix, though not always to their success. Flexion out will result in Jeffro taking a 50. It's a sitter in midfield, only Zyko on it. Just throw it towards target as Polar Bear went for a bump. Kind of worked as a couple players got messed up, but ultimately was back out to midfield for Dozy to dunk. Gonna go into the corner of the commit. Can take some time. They flick it middle. They will get a 50 off onto the sideline. Able Lime will send it off again. And ultimately, honestly, even if Pensocken doesn't get shots off of all these long clears, it is ticking off a lot of seconds off the clock. And Huntington do need to be able to get back in this game. And even more importantly, they're getting boost sharp trying to get upfield. Dozy sets it up, and those are 2 solo plays for Pensocken now to take a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, I mean, we see how much on the back foot Huntington were in that push. Like, they just got caught out. They weren't quite ready for the pinch to go where it did, and it was intelligently read by the Pensocken side, and it makes things all the more difficult because now it's not about holding. It's about holding 2 goals, and Huntington don't have even one.
And with 90 seconds remaining, it's certainly in the mix for them. They're going to have to start hitting these a little bit more dangerously. The way that Unable Lime is playing right now, as you said, they're doing it all themselves in that first goal, but they have been really a presence in midfield, and now they're just a nuisance in the half. They just half rotate on that one just to hold it in place. Clear will finally come out, but it's met by Dozy. Able Lime will take a little bit of time. It could be their detriment, and it will be. Jeffro recognizes the hesitation, and that's at least one back.
Yeah, it felt like there was 2 potentially to look for, but I don't think Dozy had enough. Oh yeah, Dozy was caught out. Okay, I see what happened. And Unable Lime, I think, was caught without boost. So, just 2 situations that were a little bit off for the side of the Sour Limes. But here's the thing. Like I said, they got to do it twice. They got to do it one more time, and it's taken 9 minutes to get that 1 goal on the board.
We'll have to see if they can get another one, and they don't have 9 minutes to get it. They have only 45 seconds. Pensocken doesn't look to be in the generous mood. A pass into the middle to Unable. Unable to wrangle that shot, so I have Huntington trying to march it out, but good 50s by commit. Going to impede that progress. Another tap into the corner for Dozy to chase down. Polar Bear into Jeffro, into the corner. Dozy has turned around on this one. That's a miss by a couple players. Zyko's in for it. It's a good 50. It's a sitter for Polar Bear, but they can't get the pass off, and a roller down. Gonna tick off more time. 15 seconds to determine how this one ends.
Yeah, and that's the problem. The time is at maximum here for Pensocken. All they've got to do is hang on to control, and that's all they're trying to do.
Final 5 seconds. Huntington, they're swarming the ball. Jeffro, they beat a player. They beat 2. It's the back post. Commit doesn't get. Polar Bear can't keep it up, and Pensocken moving on to match point by a 1-goal margin yet again.
Oh my goodness, and talk about close. That's another one that's coming down to the wire as game 2 I mean, surprisingly, once again, going Pensacon's way, and at this point, I can't call this an upset. This is just incredible defense coming through from both sides, but in particular, Pensacon seemingly mistakeless, barring the one time they got kind of caught out in transition. From one rotation to another, and I also think that their strategy of, you mentioned it in the mid game as well, Taco, the long clears, they were just perfectly fine. Boot the ball all the way back to the corner. Well, and it takes another 10-15 seconds for the Huntington side to regroup and set back up. Do the same thing once again and repeat over and over again, and it allows for Pensacola to take game 2. But it's game 3 now, and it's going to have to be the Huntington High School Blue Devils to take it if we want to see a game 4.
And this is what national champions are made of. When your back is against the wall, can you show up when it most matters? This is the test that Huntington is now going to have to take. They only have one more loss to give here. As you mentioned, match point, game number 3, and we're trying to start off with a bang. Polar Bear on the counter. Getting it turned away. Jeffro into the high ceiling again. Can't get the redirects, though. It will tap that one out. Zyko tries to hold this up, but ultimately another clear for Unable Lime. Maybe an air dribble to go, and he gets it past him and dunks it in. What an opener from Unable Lime.
Oh my goodness. I've been talking about this guy the entire time, but the deflect off of Polar Bear into the back of the net. Truly impressive plays on the aerial, and Unable Lime quickly shaping up to be my MVP for this matchup.
Just a phenomenal follow. I really didn't think there was much of a chance there, but he shows that just a bit stronger hitting the weight room will get that lead. Now they're going to have to be forced to play defense, and Unable Lime will be able to do that, and even able to tap a pass down to Dozy. Was a chance to get another one. Good flick, but Polar Bear gets just enough on it. It's a roller. Unable Lime screaming up the pitch. Will shoot it to the back post, but Jeffro ready for it. Another save, and whereas we saw Pensacola so meekly defending, it felt, for all of game 1, they are the aggressors in game 2 and 3.
Yeah, I mean, beyond that, I mean, this level of aggression is simply been unseen, I feel like, in game 1 and game 2. Like, yeah, Pensacola, they look different when it came to game 2, but this is a team that is hunting for blood.
Huntington is trying to get something in there, but ultimately they're going to have to rotate out for some boost eventually, and they do. Now, completely refueled, Jeffro throws it to the back post, not on target. Polar Bear will tap it middle, but only commit is there. Zyko to the corner. Can't follow that one, but will get a boost steal. Polar Bear, another follow up into the ceiling. They will get that tap. It's just going to go all the way across. Jeffro opts to give the boost steal again. Taps in the middle. They'll follow it themselves. It's a decent shot, but it's right at Unable Lime. Polar Bear will be able to at least do something with this. Unfortunately, only deflection off their car, and it'll be another one to the side. And just touches like that where Polar Bear doesn't quite get that contact. I think that's what's been plaguing Huntington. They go up so confidently, and then the touches just a little bit off from what they're expecting, and then they have to adjust. Only one goal in it as we're approaching halftime, but you have to be wondering how sweaty those controllers are getting, knowing that if they don't score soon, this series could be over.
Yeah, and beyond that, I mean, it's not just misses from Huntington. It's bumps. It's aggression from Pensacola that have made things difficult for the rest for the entirety of the other team. And oh my goodness, commit with the double off the crossbar, making it look. I mean, this looked just so far out. I thought for sure Polar Bear had it, but it was just a bit too far forward. I mean, that's what, the second time in a row, Taco, that we've been caught out, thinking there ain't no way that Pensacola can pick it up.
And unfortunately, Huntington was bumping each other in the corner, a little bit of confusion. Pensacola still had a lot to do. Maybe not on this one, off the kickoff. It is just a snowball effect. 3-0 to Pensacola.
I mean, this is the Blue Devils just getting a little bit frustrated, getting, maybe not frustrated, but just, fighting that, hey, their backs are against the wall. This is getting serious, and like you said, those controllers getting sweaty.
I'd like to formally apologize to the Pensacola School District for ever insinuating this was going to be an upset. And they look like the favorites the way they are playing. Huntington has not had an answer for great stretches of time here. But with half a game remaining, anything can happen like that. Polar Bear gets Huntington on the board.
Yeah, but it's on the board for what is the second goal in now 3 games. and it took an entirely open net. And that has happened exactly twice this entire series.
Yeah, they're going to need some quality touches, and they're going to need them right about now. 2-minute drill activated. They have it in them. Get 2 more to spawn the heroics needed. Take this one the distance. We'll have to wait and see.
The 2-minute drill, I thought it was just a football thing.
I mean, it's still 2 minutes. It's still something you got to get done. Right now, Huntington at least doing a decent job here, but unfortunately, Polar Bear, no contact. Zyko's going to have to rotate out. Mid-air demo will open up some space for Jeffro. Mid is there, though. Only hold it up temporarily. Good dunk off the backboard. Can Polar Bear touch it? They do. It's straight down. Able Lime and Commit both have to rush for this one. Jeffro uses that 50. Some more seconds ticked off the clock, and so Zyko is going to have to take it all the way back, but Commit is there for another 50. Just so impressive, this pressure that Pennsauken is building up, and with 75 seconds remaining, they might have it in them, but the gap opens up, and that's going to be another one. Within 1 now is Huntington.
Run this back, Ivy. What just happened? Another one where it seemed so close. Oh, just barely unable to get in front of it. There were the defenders, and the speed with which the Blue Devils found their way into that one is simply astonishing. And like you said, we're now within 1 goal, but it's 1 minute. And that is what is needed. You got to find it if you are Huntington.
Well, it's going to see a deflection down to Polar Bear. They're going to send that high above. Unable Lime is up for it, so is Commit. Zyko taps that one forward, but it's only a bounce to Dozy. Not the strongest clear. Jeffro goes up for it. It's a win into open space. Unable Lime off the sidewall. Zyko, that's a hit forward. Everyone from Pennsauken rushing back. It's a flick on target. Dozy, temporary touch. Polar Bear off the corner. Jeffro trying to chase this one, but Dozy's the only one up. Half a minute remaining on the clock. What is in the back pocket for Huntington? Unfortunately, only a double tap off the sidewall, and another sitter is going to go down the sideline for Jeffro to chase, but another clear out from Pennsauken. 15 seconds remaining. Can they hold the defensive line? Huntington's going to have to get a full court carry. That's a start from Polar Bear. It's on target near Dozy. They catch the ball. One more into the corner, maybe one more push. They have it in them. Zyko, look in the middle. There's Jeffro. It's past the defender, and Unable Lime will get the clear despite their best efforts. Huntington does not have it in them, and Pennsauken in the quarterfinals will march on to the semis with a 3-0 sweep.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, like you said, full apologies here on the commentary desk. What we thought was going to be a Huntington game was Pennsauken holding them, I should say, impressively to just 3 goals in 3 games. And wow. This Pennsauken side, he came out to play, and they are playing with a vengeance, let me tell you. 3-0, again, I feel doesn't tell us the story, because the Pennsauken defense, whilst it was, it let up a little bit there on the last couple stages of Game 3, it was overall just suffocating.
Yeah, and for great stretches of time throughout a lot of these games, it was either a 1-goal game finish, or it was just brought all the way back, and there was close bouts where either team really could take the lead, and Pennsauken shaves those off. And of course, we're talking about all these different things from separating Pennsauken and Huntington. It's one thing to speculate, it's another thing to actually delve into the minds of a player who was on the pitch. We have Unable Lime waiting for an interview. We're going to throw you guys to a brief break. We'll be right back to pick the brains, really, of the Pennsauken leading man, Unable Lime. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more 2021 EGF High School National Championships. Welcome back, everybody, to the 2021 EGF High School National Championships in collaboration again with Walt Disney World and ESPN Wide World of Sports. And in this wide world of esports, at least, we've been seeing some fantastic matchups, and we're going to end our day here with what we just saw. Huntington falling 0-3 here to now our winners. We got Pennsauken High School and Unable Line from Pennsauken High School on the line with us. Pensauken's own Unable Lime. How are you feeling after a nice little sweep here to end our day?
I'm feeling really good about this because we, in the groups, we lost both times to them and in finals. So 3-0ing them is a really big accomplishment for us.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, we were unaware here on the desk of that prior information, but I mean, it was your all's defense that really did the trick. Game 1 and Game 2 was a just defensive shutout, essentially, barring one mistake there in Game 2. I mean, what led to that? Have you guys prepped defense in particular for this side?
To be honest, defense is our weak suit. We like to pass more, even though it wasn't showing during our game. We were getting pressured really, really hard, so we just had to focus on defense more than we usually do.
Yeah, and one thing that we were able to see throughout that game is that your defense, it felt like you were a bit on the back foot in game number 1, but you were able to squeeze that win through. And then from there, you guys were really just vibing for the rest of the series. You guys look very confident going forward. Was there a point where you felt there was a turning point where you were just playing a game to success and kept on going? And was there a point where you guys really felt a lot more confident? Because I'm curious about how you guys were feeling in game number 1 and then how that changed maybe throughout the series going on.
Well, from Game 1, we were shooken up since we lost from before. And once we beat them, we opened up and we started to just play. In Game 3, we kind of got shaken because they scored twice, and it kind of messed up like our mental a little bit. But we pushed through and won.
Yeah, y'all held it off just enough. I mean, it was a last second push to hold that final goal off from going towards overtime. But I mean, y'all did it, and it was brilliant to watch. But you did mention that this is the first year for Pennsauken in Rocket League, and so what does that kind of leave you guys? Making it this far, you're headed to semifinals, and I mean, how does the team feel about that, and where does that leave you guys moving forward?
Well, leading us into our school, we're a lot more opportunities are being opened up for us. We're gonna have probably more games and more things to do for EGF and working with them. So it really helps.
Yep. And one thing that we're seeing is as we we witness you guys go through the bracket and get these different wins, you don't see a lot of 3-0 sweeps. So this is quite the convincing thing for you. And you've had a fairly long day here because you are one of the teams in which our seeders, maybe we'll need to give them a slap on the wrist here because you had to start within your plan structure. You got that win against Crespy Celts. You moved on to Huntington. You got that win 3-0. It's very emphatically. And now you're moving on to, I guess, somewhat logically, your toughest test yet. You're playing against Hilltoppers. They were regional champions earlier in the season, about a month ago in May. And this is obviously the only impediment to you guys getting to grand finals. Are you guys feeling confident going down this bracket? Is there any really team that you're looking out for that you're a bit fearful, you're apprehensive, and you got to really prep for going forward?
Well, I'm not really afraid of any teams. Since we beat the Blue Devils, I think our confidence is about to be boosted, and we're gonna win against the Hilltoppers.
Lovely to hear.
Yeah, I mean that's brilliant to hear, and I do want to ask one final thing from you though. So, considering that you did best the Blue Devils and you are moving towards the Hilltoppers, what do you think the most important thing for success in that coming series is going to be for you and your team?
It's going to be rotations. Rotations is really important. When our defense is lacking, we just start to mess up. Our mental starts to break a little bit, and we start to get quiet. The rotations really, really impact our game.
Yeah, and we're definitely seeing that as you guys went on, you didn't lack for confidence. You started going for things, and if you're quiet on comms at times when your rotations break down, I'm sure you guys weren't quiet when you guys got that win. Congrats on going on to the semifinals. We'll see you there tomorrow. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Thanks.
And with that, unfortunately, everybody, brings a tear to your eye, but that will do it for us today here on EGF's National Championships here for high school esports in general. But we'll be back here in the future. Please come back and witness Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Overwatch and Rocket League Finals coming up tomorrow. But I have been Danger Taco, and with me has been Vincent. Vincent, always a pleasure to share the booth with you.
It's been a great time. And listen, 12 p.m. tomorrow Eastern, that's exactly when we start. So make sure that you are there because, I mean, there's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow. Semifinals, grand finals, like you're talking, Danger Taco.
Yeah, and with that, that will do it for us. So again, for everyone here at EGF, we got Juke producing for this stream. We got all the teams putting out their absolute best, and for all us casters, it's just a treat to be able to witness and bring this all to the viewers. So that will do it for, again, quarterfinals for the 2021 EGF High School National Championship in collaboration with Walt Disney World and ESPN Wide World of Sports. This has been EGF, and we will be signing off and hopefully see you tomorrow.